David, you got to start playing this Immaculate Grid game. You would love it.
I only have so much mental energy left, Trent.
I know, but this would be easy.
I really don't want to spend it. I mean, you sound like somebody who's like, listen, we've detected early onset dementia. You really need to play these games to keep your mind as fresh as possible.
It's like a mental exercise.
Trent, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have much to give anymore, okay?
What were you trying to get him to do?
These damn Immaculate Grid things.
I think he would love this Immaculate Grid.
Montreal Expos, Miami Marlins.
I think he'd love the Immaculate Grid. I think he'd love what's the Barstool?
Oh, the dozen?
The dozen. I think he'd love that. I think he'd be great at it, and I think he'd love it. But I quit trying to. After a while, when I suggest something a couple times and I watch his eyes glaze over, I quit asking.
It's a satisfying thing because it's
a sports crossword puzzle.
I was never into crossword puzzles, believe it or not. Never enjoyed them.
Even in the newspaper?
Okay, now first off, that's the a-hole comment of the day. Okay, that is you a-hole, and besides, you've already been fired. Okay, Zach Wilson. Okay, Zach. Yes, even in the newspapers.
In fact, I'm going to start calling him Marina Zach now.
I was going to say.
Oh my goodness.
Or which one do you want, Ambient? You want a bum or you want Michael Penix? I mean, what the hell do you want? I tell you, I have trouble watching Toronto-Boston and figure out who I like least. Because Brad Marchand is the biggest rat that may have ever played the sport. God, he's something.
Isn't he Claude Lemieux all over again?
With more talent.
Without the dirty hit on Draper. I swear to God. I don't know if anybody's been that annoying in a long time.
Wow, is he something?
And you would kill to have him on your team. Kill.
I don't know if there's a player that's as universally disliked in sports right now as he is. You know, I mean, Draymond maybe?
I don't know. Guys, come on. Maybe. And I would give so much money to have Brad Marchand on my team. Oh, my God.
Oh, you'd win the cup.
That's exactly what we're missing.
All right, here we go.
We would have won it 2 years ago.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are bursting at the seams. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Oh, baby. The NFL draft is 14 hours away. You want to know what heat culture is? Watch the game last night. That's heat culture. It's like pornography. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. Oh, yeah. Playoff hockey. Can the Leafs and Bruins play a best of 11? If they're going to keep playing like this, make it a best of 11.
We'll take your Florida series and show you what a little hitting's about last night.
It's as if the two teams sat back in their respective hotel rooms and watched game 2 of the Panthers and Lightning and said, hey, you want to try that?
Let's pick it up a little bit. Why don't we just pick up the pace just a little bit in this series? Because it was lacking a little oomph. Oh, boy.
Instead of easing into the game, how about if we just come out and throw haymakers? Ah, good stuff going on everywhere. And, man, are there some bad baseball teams. And they're still losing. This whole, wait, the tide's going to turn. No, actually, they keep losing. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. But top of the morning to you, Mark. Look at you all dressed up in your Kraken gear.
Yeah, it was the first T-shirt on the pile. I've got to be really honest with you. It was a little later night than I expected, even though there was nothing great going on. I didn't make it for all of Kings and Oilers. I attempted to and just said, no, I can't do it. The draft's tonight. I can only do so many nights in a row of staying up. And it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I said, probably in my best interest to hit it.
You and I are thinking along the same lines. Okay. I bailed after like the first period of the West Coast hockey games. I said, sorry, boys. Okay. Not tonight. Not tonight. Got a full day tomorrow. In fact, I think I'm going to jam in a nap today.
Oh, I woke up thinking about the nap that I'm going to take after this show.
Yeah, live Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv on the Miller and Moulton channel. There you go, 8 o'clock tonight. We'll be doing our draft coverage. We analyze the picks, but we think forward. And we think multiple picks forward. What should teams be thinking here? So-and-so better move up if they want to get that corner. So-and-so better move up if they want to get that tackle.
Uh-oh, here comes the run on wide receivers. What does that mean for Pittsburgh?
Uh-oh.
Whatever the case may be.
You got it. So our guy Bud Elliott, all right, just subtly chimed in on X last night, in which he just said, watched a lot of film on Brian Thomas. He's really good against bad teams and bad defenses. And then he said, Alabama, Missouri, all right, and mentioned one other, and Florida State until they put a freshman on him in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he didn't do squat. So he said, I'm just saying.
Really good player.
Yep.
High ceiling, but right now doesn't see in him what he sees in some of the others.
Yep. So he doesn't think the wide receiver class goes 4 at the elite level. He thinks maybe it's 3, and then it's 10, 12 guys that are all in the same pile. So that's the beauty of this sucker. It's tonight, and everybody's going to get the draft right. Everybody.
Except your team, whoever your team is.
And see, usually it's like with congressmen and women. Congress sucks, except my guy, or my gal. They're fine. They're pretty good. No. I keep voting for them. But, man, let me tell you, the other 400 and something, they're awful. Throw them all out. Okay? The draft's exactly opposite. Man, I like so-and-so, like so-and-so, like so-and-so. Your team?
By the way, since Goodell did so well, at least in my opinion, with his Q rating with Eminem and the commercials, does he have Eminem walk out with him tonight to prevent the booing? I mean, this is the one city right now. Detroit is on such a high of their team. It is the one place where Goodell could possibly not get booed. If you really think about it, David.
It's a great point, Mark. In fact, I'll be a little surprised if Goodell doesn't get a standing ovation. The city of Detroit, and Trent can attest, okay, right now is so happy. What's that movie that we like, the Tom Hanks movie? Okay, make it peppy, make it snappy.
Oh, as good as that thing you do.
That thing you do. Okay, and the one drummer, okay, he runs off to Vegas to get married. Not the drummer, he played the bass or whatever. Okay, and he's standing there and the confetti's falling down on him and he just goes, I'm just so happy. Right. That's the whole city of Detroit right now.
It really is.
Even Paula, who goes as Detroit Paula, in our Twitch chat room, capital letters, we are happy with 3 exclamation points.
Yes. Gotta love it. The positivity is leaking from the Motor City.
And so that's just it. I mean, can you get Paula and Trent, a.k.a. Zach Wilson? All right, can you get them to boo Goodell? I don't think they have it in them. They're just so happy.
It's all on how it starts because they'll want to boo because people have been grown accustomed to booing Goodell in this situation. It's what the early returns are because people are followers at these events, David. They don't lead, they follow.
Here's what I think is going to happen. All right. The draft and whatever, and Goodell gets announced, and I actually think the first 3 seconds are going to be cheers. And then the people who are going to elbow their friends and go, no, we're supposed to boo Goodell. Wait, what? Oh, boo. I think we're going to start with 3 to 5 seconds of a crescendo of cheers, okay? And then we're going to go to boos. Either that, or if he gets a standing ovation, we're going to have the draft in Detroit every year for the rest of Goodell's tenure. They had it in New York forever. Moved it from the basement of a hotel to Radio City Music Hall. I mean, what the heck? I mean, for the amount of money that the Lions owners are charging their season ticket holders, Detroit can just keep anteing up for the draft.
What an event this league has created. I mean, just what you described, from the basement of a hotel to Radio City Music Hall to now being auctioned off to the highest bidder to host the draft.
Yep.
A 3-day event for people to select, to walk up and read a name off of a card.
Yep. In the second round, it's former greats of each team. And of course, you've got the annual Drew Pearson doing the pick for the Cowboys, in which he makes a big spiel. And before he makes the pick, he does, how about them Cowboys? Okay. Yep. We're ready, Drew. And with the 56th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft,
the Dallas Cowboys select Spencer Rattler, quarterback,
South Carolina. So
Jared was talking yesterday.
Oh man, that's all Jared does. He's good at it.
But he says nothing. He talks, but he says nothing.
Well, you're not supposed to say something right before the draft. I mean, that's the whole thing. These teams sit down 2-3 days before the draft, and they do their state of the team draft thing. Well, what are they going to say? Who you guys taking? Oh, we're taking Drake May. No, that's not how it works.
I understand, but he went on and on about Dak, and it just, it's.
Mm-hmm.
He's terrific.
He said he wanted to see a couple more cards played, right?
Right. You do know he started 8 years for you, right? I mean, do you need to see more? I mean, honestly, like in our Twitch chat room yesterday, when we had JP Shadrick on from the Jags Radio Network, and I brought up Dak in comparison with Trevor Lawrence. It's like, listen, we know Trevor's talented. We know he's good, but we want him to get out of the Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins classification. Now, you and I are higher on Cousins than most people, and somebody in our Twitch chat room was like, Dak finished second for an MVP and what have you. And it's like, yeah, Dak's been in the league 8 years, Trevor 3. I could understand if Jared was saying what he's saying about Trevor Lawrence before signing him to that second contract for $250 million or more. But what more do you think you need to see from Dak?
You've seen it.
I mean, he just hasn't been in the league 8 years. He has started for 8 years. This isn't a Rich Gannon who 8 years in the league had to, sprinkle a little this. Figure Trent would like that. Sprinkle. Okay. Sprinkle a little Vikings, sprinkle a little Chiefs, but hadn't really been given a full-fledged opportunity. And finally, Gruden and the Raiders said, I think you're a player. And in his early 30s, he's league MVP. No, Dak started damn near every game of his career. Remember, Romo got hurt in the preseason of Dak's rookie year. What more do you need to see?
You don't need to see any more. But Jared's constantly asked about the contract and the quarterback, and he just spews from the mouth until he's done talking. And it's one gigantic circle.
I love, if you're a Cowboys fan, like Jared's talking about what a great offseason they've had. Okay. And are you sitting home? Is this kind of like you're married and you look at your spouse and they're talking about, no, we're great financially. And you have the checkbook in front of you. And you go, it's funny. It says here $43.81. Am I missing something?
Well, David, of course it was a great offseason. They went all in.
Right. And that's another thing. No. I put the whole paycheck in the account. Really? It says $43.81. What am I missing? All right. So that's all.
And Dak's still under the same contract. CeeDee Lamb's not under a new contract, and Micah Parsons still not under a new contract.
No, it's all good. Nothing to see here. We're fine. Here's what I love. Dak's a free agent at the end of this year. They can't franchise tag him. And if he leaves and goes somewhere else, do you know what his cap hit is on the Cowboys next year because of how many times they've reworked his contract? Dak's going to count $40 million on their cap next year, even if he's playing in Vegas. Enough about Dak. We got to come up with a poll question involving like your team tonight in the draft. Think about it. Come on, Zach Wilson. Come up with something for us, okay? Do something this week for Miller and Moulton, okay?
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How many quarterbacks get drafted in the first round? 4, 5, or 6?
There you go. I like it.
The milk question received 121 votes. The Minnesota QB question received 64 votes.
It's kind of like the difference in hitting between the Rangers and the Caps and the Lightning and the Panthers.
By the way, the Braves TV guy last night after their walk-off over the Marlins to sweep the series, the fish fry is complete, he says.
Nice. It's all right. They blew a 3-1 lead in the ninth at the Braves. Costly error.
Yep.
This is the break the Marlins were going to need. Maybe not.
Ambient, you're definitely drafting a quarterback. Don't worry.
Oh, Ambient, you call, you leave messages at the office. Mark is a longtime friend who's a Raiders fan who did that with Al Davis for like 10 years.
but would get to his secretary.
Right.
That's how archaic the Raiders front office was. This is Kessel he would call the Raiders front office, ask for Al Davis,
and get to his secretary.
Oh my goodness.
And leave messages.
That is absolutely insane.
I think the Reader loss Stratharian is the big one of the three.
And we'll take him.
Yeah. Hendrickson needed to play this card last year. He signed a short-term extension. He screwed himself.
All right, so I think I know why Felipe didn't respond. It's because he was at the Tiki Bar 7 hours ago, which means it was approaching midnight. That place.
Oh, in San Carlos?
Yeah.
It's quite a place.
It is. It really is.
Have you been?
Many times.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
My wife, we were driving by going somewhere, and she was, that Tiki Bar always looks busy. I go, that's the shadiest place.
It has character.
It has something.
That's where I did the hermit crab racing. Was that Tiki Bar. Shelling money out.
Don't you have a feeling he's going to have to keep Appleton away from the Tiki Bar? Okay. Yeah, she thinks he makes the grade right now, but if he take, if they just hit the Tiki Bar,
she loves dive bars.
Yeah, but you gotta. I think you gotta wait till like third, fourth date, time together or what have you before you decide. Hey, how about we just hit this little joint before we go home?
If someone said something to me about this bar and have you been there? And I looked at him, I go, I haven't been to a bar in 3 years. Can't tell you the last time I've been to a bar.
You just show up at a joint. Okay, you need to find a joint. Just
I have
show up.
no desire to.
Man,
Here we go.
Making fun of how old I am. Come on now, snap out of it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. T-minus 13 hours and 39 minutes. If you were bringing someone from another country and they were visiting the United States for the first time and they were observing this country of ours today and tonight, what do you think their conclusion would be?
Not good. They would think that this is the most moronic country on the planet. I mean, if you really step back and look at how excited we get, how many people watch Roger Goodell read names off of a card.
Correct.
Man,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's it. That's it. That's what we needed. I mean, listen, Trent, a.k.a. Zach Wilson, and for those that don't know, earlier in the week, we had a poll question, all because of the quarterback draft class of 2021, where 5 were taken in the first 15, and 4 of the 5 have already been traded or released from the teams that drafted them just 3 years ago. And so we said, of those 4 quarterbacks traded or released, which one would you give a second chance to? Now, we put Zach Wilson on the list as a courtesy because he was technically one of the 4. But we've all seen the last 3 years. He's the worst quarterback that we've ever seen in the NFL. Although Mark nominates Nathan Peterman.
I really do, David.
Okay. But he was a mid-round pick and was not never the designated starter anywhere. He was always the prospect quarterback. But I hear you. 5 interceptions and a half, that gets you on the short list of worst quarterbacks in NFL history. I'll grant you that. But no one is going to say, you know who I'd really think? Okay, I think I want to give Zach Wilson a second shot, except our beloved Trent Bally. He was that guy. For the longest time, Zach had 1 vote in the poll question. It was Trent. And so I've called him Zach Wilson for the rest of the week. Actually, that's after we fired him. Okay. He's working on borrowed time. Interviews will begin next week. Jobs posted on LinkedIn. Okay. So back to the draft.
And I was not one who used to watch the draft. Even when we did this show, when the draft was on the weekend, I used to mock David for spending his entire weekend in the house while they read names off of a card because I could get up in the morning and go, oh, let's see. Caleb Williams went to the Bears. Jaden Daniels went to Washington. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Right.
Drake May goes to the Patriots. It's all right there. You don't need to watch this, except we do.
Oh, yeah. And remember, Miller and Moulton, one of our finer moments. The NFL announced they were going to move this sucker from noon on Saturday and put round 1 in prime time and then rounds 2 and 3 in prime time. What morons. What idiots. What a stupid idea this is. You finally get the draft to become an event, and now you're going to ruin it. Boy, we are on the cutting edge, aren't we?
We really are.
Yep, we've got a lot of foresight. We can really see the future.
Now the draft is up for bid.
Yep. From not just cities, but hell, if they put it up for bid for networks would bid for it too.
Well, it's on 3 networks. I mean, because ABC has their own draft coverage, ESPN and NFL Network.
Right, that's true. 3 different coverages of the same guy announcing the same players to go to the same teams.
If you're on X, you're going to find out the pick anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes before Roger Goodell announces it.
Not as bad as Woj in the NBA draft, though.
Well, Woj now has sold out. Woj won't release the picks beforehand, but he used to, yes. So now you have Shams is the one who gives you the picks 3 to 5 minutes before they actually happen in the NBA. 10 minutes, by the way, in between picks tonight. That's it. 10 minutes. Second round at 7. Then it's like 6, 5. Then they move this sucker along. They're like Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball. Let's keep shortening the pitch clock. Come on.
Yeah, ABC has demanded that they start their local news no later than 11:30.
And when you think about it, 32 teams, 10 minutes, that's 320 minutes. You know, that's that could be 5 hours. So, yeah, we got to come on. Let's move this sucker along. Let's go.
I mean, will it be over before the day ends is really the question you have to ask yourself.
Here's my question. Will ABC pull a CBS? And while Goodell is walking up to the podium to make the final selection of the draft of the first round for the Chiefs, will they break away and go to a weather promo and your late local news? Wouldn't that be great?
With Piano Man in the background?
But I mean, if with either the Niners or the Chiefs on the clock at 31 or 32, if all of a sudden that was it, the guy in the master control room, ABC, hits the switch, and you see all the recorded local news promos coming up on your late local news after the draft. People are screaming all over the country, what do you mean after the draft? Draft's still going on. Especially in Kansas City. Okay. We'll tell you who the Chiefs picked. Okay. It's like, no, they're picking But I'm just curious, don't you think tonight is a mirror to us as a society? And what is it that the mirror is telling us? Because you and I, minutes ago, this is celebration. Hell, we're doing 3-4 hours of extra work for free. We're so happy.
Right. For free. And I want everybody to understand how much that I'm against that as a general principle. And yet I get excited to work for free tonight.
Right. We're not going to make a damn thing tonight.
Yes, we will.
Well, you get to drink on the job too.
Adam will be in there and he'll tip us like $1 like he always does.
Well, that's true. That's true. There's 3 or 4 people who every time they throw us a buck. Okay. You know,
so we'll make Trent money tonight. We'll make enough.
Right. That's true.
For a $5 bet on the Hard Rock app. That's my goal.
Yep. We'll make enough for a couple drinks at that tiki bar and go home for some ramen noodles. Yep. That's true.
Living the dream.
But yeah, tonight for us is kind of like being a bartender at Dollar Moulton night. And you're like, oh boy. Oh boy. A lot of $5 bills, 4 drinks and a beer and $1. Okay, here we go. And I have to add it up tonight. So
But you're right, it's a celebration.
it is. We are proud. Okay. Us sports fans, we are proud of tonight. Yes. We are celebrating the drafting of players who could be tremendous busts.
Who the odds are every third guy will be a bust. I mean, right?
Sometimes more. If you just go by first round picks who get their 5th-year options picked up, oftentimes it's 1/3 to 40% of them don't even get their 5th-year option picked up. Think about that.
But tonight's the night when your team will change. You're going to get
Right.
over the hump tonight
Right.
and
No,
tomorrow and Saturday. This is the difference. Teams, David, are built through the draft.
yeah.
Right, Rams?
My team's not screwing it up. Not my team. You're talking about all those other teams. My congressman doesn't suck. Your congressman and everybody else's sucks.
My guy, he's great.
He's terrific. I'm voting for him again. I don't know how we're in this mess. The starting 5. There's actually a few other things going on in the sports world. We'll talk about it next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from 1/2 carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095 That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I got an idea at some point. I don't know when or if you guys would even want to do this, but I can give you guys some NFL draft prop bets on the Hard Rock app, and you can tell me what you like. Like, for example, Bo Nix draft position over under 32.5.
Okay. Under.
Yeah, I'll just spit them out and you guys can maybe in the 8 o'clock hour.
Let's do it before the play of the day segment.
Yeah. Why don't
At
we do
7?
it? Yeah.
All right.
Ryro, I actually think they're going to take a wide receiver. Probably Neighbors. I think the Vikings are going to end up moving up to 5. I don't think New England or Arizona is going to trade out. I think it's going to go Caleb, Daniels, May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Vikings trade up to 5, give up their 2 firsts, and take JJ. And then the Giants take Neighbors. Titans take Joe Alt. I think they go tackle over edge. There's talk that Dallas Turner is falling and that he doesn't go to Atlanta at 8, that they go Murphy, the D tackle, Texas instead. So what do you do if you're the Bears with 9? You don't have a 2nd, a 5th, a 6th, or a 7th. You have 4 picks in the draft. 2 1s, a 3, and a 4.
I would first want to trade back because I think they want a receiver, and I think you're going to have 2 receivers gone. Do they want the 3rd receiver there? But I would opt to trade back if it's there.
And I think the Jets go tackle at 10. I think they should go tackle, not Brock Bowers. Yeah, Kilos. I don't know how the Jets could think. I mean, Vera Tucker hasn't played a full season in 3 years. Nothing close. The 2 tackles are both in their 30s. I don't know if Morgan Moses is even good enough to be a starting tackle. You know, never mind, can the other guy stay healthy? I think they need to draft a tackle desperately. No, I don't know, Jotharian. Yes, they did. And Penei Sewell got paid. Lions throwing out some money yesterday.
Everybody but Jared Goff.
Right. That'll get done, though. They'll do it. Amon-Ra and Penei Sewell worth every dime, by the way. Love them. Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. In our 8 o'clock Eastern hour, Chris Perkins to talk Dolphins in the draft, Roy Cummings to talk Bucks and the draft. You can text in your thoughts about the draft at 21,000. If you've never texted us before, the first time you do that, you need to type in a keyword, FSN Radio. That's the keyword, FSN Radio. That gets you through the security gate, so to speak, and then you're in. Then you live in the country club. You're a member. You go to that, gate, and it just goes up automatically. 21,000. And we're live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. You can comment in the Twitch chat room. Join the party. It's a rowdy group, though, just to let you know. If you're going to join, be prepared. It's not a quiet card game, if you know what I mean. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, number 1's the NFL draft. It's tonight, baby. Why do I sound like John Forsland all of a sudden? That's hockey, baby. Maybe it's because I'd love to be John Forsland. I don't know. 8 o'clock tonight, Detroit. Bears on the clock. Yeah. Chicago, Arizona, Minnesota. They're the teams with 2 first-round picks. Houston, Cleveland, Carolina. They're the teams with no first-round picks. The Lions are picking 29th, but they made news yesterday. Some guys got paid. First, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. He got a 4-year, $120 million extension, 77 of it guaranteed. That's the most guaranteed money that's ever been given to a wide receiver in NFL history. He'll enjoy that for about, 5 days probably before one of the other guys get paid, but that's okay. Good for him. That's $30 million a year, man. That's money. That is getting paid. And then Penei Sewell, 4 for $112. That's 28 a year. But 85 of that is guaranteed. Actually, less money than the wide receiver, more guaranteed money than the wide receiver. Here's a question I have for the both of you. When you're paying that guy that much money, do you feel pressure to move him to left tackle?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the left tackle's pretty good. He ain't Penei Sewell, but he's pretty good. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Plus, also against certain teams, like against the Niners, when they played them in the NFC title game. Well, Bosa lined up across from Sewell the whole game. Well, Bosa got a sack and a pressure. It wasn't against Sewell. It was when they blitzed, and Sewell had to pick up somebody else. And that's the only time Bosa got on the stat sheet. When Bosa was lining up against Sewell, he didn't do squat. And Mark, there are a couple of college teams who kind of rotate tackles all the time, depending on the play and the matchups and what have you. I'm just wondering, if you're paying Penei Sewell that much money.
Well, it's left tackle money. It was, David, it was the first thing I thought when I saw the contract. I'm like, it's a lot of money for a right tackle.
It is. It's a ton of money for a right tackle. Cowboys, by the way, they pick up the 5th-year option on Micah Parsons. So he's under contract for this year and next. Next year, he'll make a little over $21 million. Bengals do the same with wide receiver Jamar Chase. He'll make just under $22 million next year. Speaking of the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, their excellent defensive end, he says, I want to trade. So him and T. Higgins both want out. the Bengals immediately said, we're ignoring him. No. They did. They went publicly. They said he can wish for whatever he wants. He ain't going anywhere. Okay. The Ravens, got to be able to read my own handwriting. They gave a 2-year extension to wide receiver Rashad Bateman, which is interesting because most people thought they were going to trade him, and that he's been a disappointment. And it's a surprise to the Saints, but offensive lineman James Hurst retired on him yesterday. He started 51 games at guard or tackle the last 4 years. And he's 32 years old, 10 years in the league. And he said, yeah, I'm done. They went, I'm sorry, what? So did you see the Bears little press event they had yesterday? Totally unrelated to the draft.
Right. Little. That's it. That's an interesting word you used. Little press event.
Right. And by little press event, it was a big to-do in which they unveiled their $5 billion proposal for a new dome stadium next to their current one. Yeah. And the mayor of Chicago's totally behind it and said no new taxes. This will not cost the taxpayers of Chicago any additional money.
Really?
That's his story, and he's sticking to it.
$5 billion on the lakefront's not going to cost the taxpayers a dime. Okay.
Bears apparently are going to throw in $2 billion of the 5. That's what they say. One other football note: Reggie Bush got his Heisman back. So now Manziel and RG3 and those guys that said they were going to boycott the Heisman Trophy ceremony from now on until he gets his Heisman back. Well, he gets his Heisman back. Here's my question. If we're giving Heismans back, do we start giving back wins for coaches? Do we start giving back national championships and Final Four appearances that have been vacated? I'm serious.
One body serious. Has nothing to do with the other. The Heisman has nothing to do with the NCAA, though, David.
But I understand. Technically, you're right. But don't you think the Heisman is a lot like the Baseball Hall of Fame? Major League Baseball does not run the Baseball Hall of Fame. But when Major League Baseball wants someone in or out of the Hall of Fame, guess what happens? That someone gets in or out. Major League Baseball put a lot of pressure on the folks that run the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown to change the rules so that Pete Rose would never even get voted on.
I got you.
So okay, but I'm asking you that if you're the NCAA, then you're Charlie Baker. And let's just say they did this.
I would give them all back, and you know that I would.
Okay. But I'm wondering now that if you're the NCAA and this probably is not something then you're in favor of. But the Downtown Athletic Club, the Heisman Trophy, they did it. By the way, he's suing them. It goes to court Monday. Reggie Bush. I don't think there's a coincidence as to why they did this now. But I'm just wondering, if you're the NCAA, do you then go, well, God, if they're giving the Heisman back, should we, give Florida State that indoor track and field championship back?
That was about grades. They're different circumstances, but I think the basketball ones would have talked about recruiting.
Louisville
all go back. Yes.
Louisville's national title 11 years ago.
Fab Five. Yes.
Fab Five, UMass, Memphis, Final Four appearances. They can, put the banners back up. How about the coaches? Wins taken away from numerous big-time coaches for various reasons. I'm just curious. How much are we, going to rewrite here? NBA. The Celtics in Game 1 hit 22 threes. And we're like, well, no one's going to do that again. That's an unbelievable number. Yeah, the Heat hit 23 threes last night. Shot 54% from beyond the arc. Held Boston to 40 points in the second half. The Heat went into Boston without Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier and beat the Celtics 111-101. You say whatever. Spoelstra's the best damn coach in the league, okay? Can we just stop? That baby is done. You got to be kidding me.
David, it's not close either.
No. He's playing chess and everybody else playing checkers. That's ridiculous.
And if you wanted to say Greg Popovich, I'd tell you it's not 2014 anymore. I mean, it's a new day.
Right. Okay,
Eric's-
Popovich, when he doesn't have a stacked lineup, ain't winning squat. Spo's going in there without Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier and beating a 65-win team. OKC beat New Orleans 124-92 to lead that series. 2 spit SGA with 33. 3 playoff games tonight. Orlando, a 1.5-point favorite at home against Cleveland. Sixers, 4.5-point favorite at home against the Knicks. Lakers, 1.5-point favorite at home against Denver, despite losing 10 straight to them. Hockey, Bruins were 3 in the third. Brad Marchand had 2 of them. He had the game winner, and then he had the empty netter. Bruins 4-2. They lead the series 2-1. Dallas had the best record in the West, and they just lost 2 at home to Vegas. Maybe that's why Vegas is the defending Cup champion, huh? Jack Eichel, goal and assist, 3-1 Vegas. And the Kings in overtime. Anze Kopitar, the game winner, 5-4 LA. That series with Edmonton tied at 1-1. Panthers and Lightning tonight. Along with Carolina and the Islanders, the road teams are up 2-0. Baseball, Curtis Mead, a 2-run homer in the 6th. Rays beat the Tigers 7-5 to get back to 500. Marlins scored 2 in the 9th on an error to tie it. Lost to the Braves in 10, 4-3. They're 6-20 on the season. Speaking of bad teams, the White Sox have lost 6 in a row. They're 3-21. 3-21. That's a 125 winning percentage. Minnesota doubled them up 6-3. Houston 7-18. They lost to the Cubs, who scored 4 in the first, 4-3. Padres over the Rockies 5-2. Colorado 6-19. You paying attention to these records here? 6-20, 3-21, 7-18, 6-19. Man, some bad baseball. Connor Wong, 2 homers for Boston, 8-0 over Cleveland. Mets snap a 3-game losing streak, 8-2 over the Giants. Cards 5-1 over the D-backs. Trout hit his major league leading 10th homer, but the Orioles beat the Angels 6-5. Brewers are in first thanks to a 3-2 win over the Pirates. Reds with 4 in the 6th beat the Phillies 7-4. Yankees got homers from Judge, Rizzo, and Soto in beating Oakland 7-3. Dodgers. You paid attention to Ohtani? No, not his gambling.
Look at you.
He had 3 doubles last night. He's hitting 371. 11-2 over Washington. KC 3-2 over Toronto. Texas back in first. They beat Seattle 5-1. Golf, PGA Tour. They're going to start handing out money to all the guys who didn't jump to LIV as a thank you. No, seriously, they're taking a few $100 million of the money that's been invested,
Right, and just giving it to players.
They're giving Tiger Woods getting $100 million. Roy's
$100 million for not playing golf, just for being Tiger Woods,
for being loyal. Mark, loyalty. It's a hell of a thank you card. $100 million. Roy's getting 50. Spieth and JT are each getting 30. It all depends on your resume. Apparently, that's what they said. And finally, in IndyCar, and I know nobody cares, but the 500 is coming up in a month. So remember the St. Pete Grand Prix 2 months ago? Remember we had a live interview from it as they were qualifying in the whole deal. Yeah. So Joseph Newgarden won it. Yeah, they stripped him of the win yesterday. Apparently, they found out that Team Penske, manipulated the push-to-pass system. It's literally
they manipulated the push-to-pass system?
Right.
No.
I know. Isn't that kind of like...
How are we going to go? You know what? Cancel the damn draft.
Well, it is cheating. I mean, they hit the
right.
button.
It's the push-to-pass.
Yeah. It's Mark. It's kind of like if driving
That's what I do when I change channels. I push to...
Mark, to me, it's like the equivalent of driving through the toll and not paying it.
Ironically, I'm still waiting for a lot of bills because I don't have one of those SunPass things on my truck, I realize, and I've had to go through tolls, and they say they'll make you pay by plate. It's been months.
Well, sometimes it takes 3-4 months.
It'll
just
get
so
you.
You know. They'll get you. It'll cost you about $250 every time that you didn't pay. just so you know. But anyway, Newgarden stripped to the win.
No!
The 3 Penske drivers DQ'd. And Pato O'Ward, who finished second, ends up being declared the winner of the St.
He's
Pete
a
Grand Prix.
bum!
Whatever you do, you don't manipulate the push to pass. Yeah. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like when Batman fired up the car. Okay, you're not allowed to, that last one where the flames come out the back. You're not allowed to do that. Only in designated parts of the race. You can't just be going around the corner to 7-Eleven to buy lottery and use the push to pass, basically. So anyway,
I'll never watch Indy again after this incident.
7 minutes
was the
before the
Starting
hour that
Five
was.
every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I'm done. I'm done. It's over for me.
I knew I shouldn't have mentioned it. It's a legit story. It involves something that we covered, but I knew.
It's the push to pass, David. The push to pass.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
A lot more free time I've got now. I'll tell you that much. Don't have to dedicate all that time to indie racing that I was once dedicating.
Question. Sports phone. There's a book out. I think it's out like today, yesterday or today. Do you want one of the two authors?
What's the book?
It's about sports phone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's not, okay. 976-1313. I think that's the title of the book. But because you want, two guys wrote it. One of them's Howie Carpin from Sirius XM. Next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is sports phone?
No. I get it. I do. Because first off, it's 40 years ago. But it's literally, this is way before the internet. This is way before you could get the crawl. This is way before the crawl on the bottom of the screen, which really was what? ESPN2 did that? And that didn't come around until like 93.
Right.
So, I mean, you could not get scores until next day's paper or the 11 o'clock news.
It was the phone number you called to get the scores of games.
And you paid it. You paid like $3 a minute.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So there was someone that would answer it and tell you the scores.
It was a recording.
It was a recording. Okay. And some of the biggest people who have turned out to, like Kenny Albert, I think, did sports phone. I mean, some really big names did sports phone.
I'm looking into this.
Listen, man, I called sports phone many a time looking for West Coast baseball scores. Many a time. Rotary phone, too.
Do you know what a rotary phone is?
I do.
Okay. All right. I thought if you didn't know what sports phone was, if I gave you a rotary phone, do you think you could call someone on it?
Yes. I think. I don't know, but I think. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this NFL Draft Thursday. It's the final Thursday of April. Thanks so much for being with us. Hope you've had a good week as we begin to make the turn for home, and you can see the finish line from here. You'll certainly be able to see it 13 hours from now when the draft is officially underway. The draft, the focus of our poll question. Although, Mark, I think we should have a second draft-related poll question. But first, our poll question is, how many quarterbacks are going to go in the first round of tonight's draft? 4, 5, or 6? Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on X, or Miller_Moulton on X. Vote accordingly. But I'm curious, up your guys' alley, because what attracts more votes, a sports question or a non-sports question? Should we have a draft food poll question?
A draft food poll question?
Yes, like tonight's an event. I think people are going to, I mean, it's, not like Super Bowl or anything like that, but I think people are going to, some may go out. Okay, some may bring wings home.
Now, I could be way off base. This is not an event. This is a male-driven event to ignore your spouse. An event is the Super Bowl, where everybody gathers in front of the television. This is an excuse to not talk to your family. This is not an event.
Excuse is the word I was thinking of. This is an
Okay.
excuse.
Okay. How many guys use an excuse to eat? I think that's a fair question.
I think more of them use it to drink.
Fine. So I don't know. It's just a little sidebar draft poll question whether or not, tonight's event is then going to lead you to nachos, wings. I don't know.
Sounds like you're going to do a lot of eating tonight, not drinking.
Well, I'm going to do both. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to do both.
I mean, this is a work night to me. This is not an event.
This is not an event. You're working for free. You don't think that qualifies as an event?
I'm going to get drunk while I talk into a microphone. Let's be really honest.
Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, 8 o'clock tonight. It's our Twitch draft show.
It's our Twitch draft event, apparently.
Yes, it is. It's an event. It's an event. All right. Trent has an idea. Zach Wilson has an idea. Let's see if he can get his job back, okay?
Yeah, this ought to be good. I just got some NFL draft prop bets that I want to throw your guys' way and just let you chew on it because you guys are great at that. So for the 4th overall pick, so in theory,
he's sucking up. I see he throws that before the question. He throws that in. I mean,
No.
he knows he's swimming against the tide here. He knows it. All right.
thin ice and the doghouse, whatever analogy you want to use. The 4th overall pick. So in theory, who are the Cardinals going to take? All right. Marvin Harrison is the favorite at -250. JJ McCarthy +350. And something that I would sprinkle on David, Malik Neighbors is +2,000. If Marvin Harrison goes 3rd to the Patriots, do the Cardinals just say, all right, Kyler, here's your guy? What do you guys think?
Marvin Harrison. That I think there will be no trades in the top 4. And I think we're going to go quarterback, Williams, Daniels, May, and Arizona's going to hold tight and take Marvin Harrison.
Well, you're saying what I have been preaching for well over a week, that what is the point of Arizona? If they're going to trade, then they're trading out to trade back up with the Giants or the Chargers or somebody, because they have so much draft capital. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me for them to trade down to acquire more picks.
For those that don't know, Arizona has 6 of the first 90 and 7 of the first, what is it, like 70 or, first 100 something, because they have such an early pick in the 4th round. But they have 2 1s, a 2, and 3 3s.
Yeah,
so 6 of the first 90.
They're picking 104 in the 4th round.
Right. So 6 of the first 90, 7 of the first 104. So Mark's been saying, if I'm Arizona, whatever you're offering me, you better offer it for me for 25 or 26, because I'm really not interested in more capital this year.
All right. Well, let's move it right along. Bo Nix, he's been a big topic of conversation on Miller and Moulton over the last month or so. Over under 32.5 for his draft position. So basically, is he going in the 1st round?
Yes.
Yes.
And if you take that, the over 32.5 is -160. That's what Vegas is telling you is going to happen.
So Vegas is saying he's going to be in the 2nd round?
No, over as in
higher.
It's a little confusing, but yes, over 32.5 means he'll go in the 1st round.
No, it doesn't.
How could it?
That's what I'm just reading the research. I don't know.
Okay.
Over as in higher draft position, not it, because the way it's worded is draft position. Over 32.5.
Okay.
Which would mean 33. Over 32.5 is 33. That's out of the 1st round. That doesn't make any damn sense. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to give up this segment, and I'm giving up IndyCar racing. You guys are killing me. Push to pass, over 32.5. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, but then Brock Bowers' draft position over under is set at 12.5. And the over is +200.
Yeah, meaning that they think he's going to go 10th to the Jets. Okay, I go over, by the way. I think the Jets are taking a tackle. I think Brock Bowers is going to fall to the Colts at 15.
Okay. I mean, they think he's like the highest rated tight end prospect ever, right? I mean, that's kind of what they're saying.
Yeah. Who's they?
Well, yeah, but for what it's worth, a lot of our listeners remember Kyle Pitts went 4th overall.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Hawkinson went 8th overall.
No. You're asking us what we think's going to happen. I think the Jets are going to take an offensive tackle because they're going to need one by October.
All right. Team to draft Michael Penix. Before I give you the odds, just who do you think drafts Michael Penix?
Vegas.
The Raiders.
They are the favorite at plus 100. Vikings, Broncos, Giants round out the top 4 there.
Vikings, Broncos, Giants. I actually have those 3. I'm thinking Giants. It would be the second bet for me.
Would you be happy with that as a Giants fan?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Listen, there's 2 things. First off, Daniel Jones sucks. Secondly, if you're a Giants fan, never mind the people in charge of the Giants, you're thinking you're not drafting this high ever again. So really, it's difficult to argue you shouldn't take a quarterback, quite frankly. If you're convinced the guy you currently have is not good enough, and I believe they believe he's not good enough, that they have to replace him. Well, what better opportunity are you going to have to replace him than the one you have now? You're drafting 6th.
I think the Giants, I don't know about news, but a lot of noise came out of the Giants in the last couple of days that they're, one, looking to move up in the draft and talking to Arizona and New England about going to 4 or 3 to get their quarterback. And they're also looking to trade out of their spot and move down. I mean, they're literally, not they so much, but the reporters are talking out of both sides of their mouth about what the Giants are going to do.
Because I think the draft's going to begin with the Chargers at 5. I do. Are the Chargers going to trade out? And if so, will it be the Vikings and they give up their 2 1s and they move up to 5 and they take JJ? And then what do the Giants do? Do they try to get cute? Or do they just take Penix at 6 and say, we think he can play? I don't know what to tell you.
Mark, how do you feel about that? That David just 3 or 4. Do you think Arizona or New England trades out?
I think it's more likely that New England trades out than Arizona. I really do. I have been saying for 2 weeks in the show that I don't think Arizona's moving. They have, again, 7 picks in the first 104. What's the point of moving out unless the offer is so incredible and it has 2025 picks in it? They do not need any more picks in 2024.
All right.
What else you got?
If I just asked you on its face, there's no odds for this, but who gets drafted first, Bo Nix or Michael Penix?
Penix.
Bo Nix.
Wow. A disagreement.
Denver.
And I do think Denver's going to take him, but I think Denver's trading out because they need picks. They don't have a second-round pick. Okay, I think Denver trades out, and they move down. I think Philly is a prime candidate to move up from 22 to 12.
And you've been saying Pittsburgh, too.
I think Pittsburgh could move up for a wide receiver. I really do. Listen, Pittsburgh's all in this year. I mean, they are. Both quarterbacks, they announced yesterday they're not picking up Fields' 5th-year option, which, it's $25 million. I could see why they wouldn't pick it up. All right, they don't even know if he can play. Russ has got a 1-year deal. So all the quarterbacks in the room are on 1-year deals.
Highly motivated.
Yeah, they really are. So I think they're going to get an offensive weapon. I do. They don't need to invest any more capital in their defense. They don't.
So we've got about 6 quarterback names that have been thrown around in the first round, and that is our poll question. How many quarterbacks are going in the first round? I want your guys' answers and why.
Oh, 6. I think they all go. I think 4 of them go in the top 10, 5 in the top 15, and 6 in the top 20, 25.
If Penix is still on the board at 29, the Raiders are trading back in to get him. I'm with David. I think all 6 go. I think Denver drafts Nix, and I think the Raiders draft Penix.
And doesn't that just speak to football in 2024? How you have to capitalize on a rookie quarterback, on a rookie deal, and go all in with the roster you have?
Well, I have to admit, I don't think going forward you have to capitalize on a rookie quarterback from a cap standpoint. The cap's exploding. The new TV deal just kicked in this year. The cap went up, what, 40 million? Okay, the cap's going to keep going up 25, 30 to 40 million a year. By 2026, the cap's going to be well over 300 million. In 2027, when the cap's 325 million, does it really look that bad that your quarterback's getting paid 50, 55? No. So I think the whole having to get it done with a rookie quarterback from a salary standpoint is going to be overblown going forward. I just think it's a question of if you don't have a quarterback, you've got to get one. And you got to keep trying.
And that's all we've been saying for as long as we've been doing a show.
But of these 6 guys, how many are going to hit?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a team and you don't have one. You got to go get quarterbacks. Remember, Trent, you only have to be right once. Miller and Moulton, play of the day coming up.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Are we sure Trey Lance is the number 2 quarterback? I mean, because don't they have Cooper Rush,
Yes.
who has started and won games for him? So
It's your buddy's birthday today.
double nickel too, I believe.
Yep.
His twin boys are 6 tomorrow.
Troy?
Joe.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going Little Caesars Pizza tonight.
Are you? Little $7, $8. Do you do regular or do you do the extra most bestest?
I go
for an
regular.
extra buck.
Or if it's Papa John's, I go Shaq-a-roni.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Chris Perkins to talk Dolphins in 40 minutes time. Roy Cummings to talk Tampa Bay Bucks in about an hour and 15 minutes. Thanks so much for being with us. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. And to our new audiences in Huntsville and Jacksonville, thanks. Check us out. Give us some time. We'll grow on you. I mean, could be like, one of those toe funguses, but, with little medication, everything will be fine.
As long as we keep pushing to pass, we'll be there for you.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's cheating. You're like, as Trent likes to say, there's a boost. It's a boost. That's what the push to pass is. And you're only allowed to use it in certain areas of the course. Okay. And what can you tell you? Apparently they had the machinery set up in which it kicked in when it wasn't supposed to kick in. And so they were cheating.
If cheating goes on in a sport that nobody watches, is it actually cheating?
Yes. In fact, there's now this will probably help their ratings, because what could hurt their ratings? But
Mark, think about it like this. If someone's cheating in euchre, because the only people who know how to play euchre are like Michiganders, so not everyone's watching, not everyone's playing. But if someone's cheating in euchre, you're hot about it.
I'm taking them back.
I was going to say, Mr. Push to Pass.
Yes.
I got into a fight when I was 17 over someone cheating in euchre.
Table talk?
No, cheating. Trying to stack the deck. Busted.
Right. And Joseph Newgarden had the St. Pete Grand Prix victory taken away from him because the whole push to pass thing. There you go. He was cheating in euchre. As
Either
in
one,
Bob.
David.
Whatever. Efer. Whatever.
For that matter.
Who was that? Who was that Michigan announcer? Wasn't he? Bob
Ufer.
Right. So it's Ufer, and then you guys. So Ufer's playing euchre. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not confusing. And
I'm confused.
You're making fun of push to pass. Anyway. Hey, before we get to the play of the day. So I saw this graphic. This guy from ESPN Paul Hembo. He's a research guy.
Right.
So he figured out basically the first 20 drafts of this century.
Okay.
And he graded them by position, hit or miss. And he did it very simply. If they got a second-year contract with the team that drafted them, that's a hit. Now, that can be a little misleading because a guy could be a really good player and could leave via free agency and sign a big contract with somebody else, and technically that goes down as a miss because he didn't sign that second contract with the team that drafted him. But that's how he grades hit or miss. And he did it by position, and he did it for the first 19 or 20 drafts of this century. The highest hit rate was center. 12 centers taken in the first round. Only one was a miss. So 92% hit rate.
Okay. I mean, think about it. It's not a first round pick normally.
Right.
Center's not, when it is, and it's an exceptional player more times. I mean, like this year, there are 2 centers that could possibly be taken in the first round. They're both thought of as guys that are going to be can't miss guys.
So if you had to guess, what's the number 2 position in terms of hit rate? If center is number 1.
Guard.
What did you say, Trent?
Safety.
Safety, third from the bottom at 34%.
So not even close.
Offensive tackle.
Okay.
59% hit rate. 64 tackles were taken in the first 19 or 20 drafts. 38 of them were hits. Guard, 50%, Mark. Third highest rated hit. So think about this stat. There's only 3 positions in the first 20 drafts of this century in which the hit rate was 50% or above. Center, tackle, and guard. So for the first 20 drafts this century, if your team didn't draft an offensive lineman, better than 50% chance that they wouldn't grade out as a hit. What's the position they got wrong the most?
Corner.
Cornerback, sort of in the middle, 38% hit rate.
I'm going to take a stab at tight end, and here's why. The position isn't valued as much for a second contract as it once was. So it's either tight end or running back. I'm going to go tight end.
Running back, fourth from the bottom at 38%, tied with corner. Safety, third from the bottom. Tight end, second to last. Only 24 taken, only 8 got a second contract with the team that drafted him. Wide receiver graded out as the position that teams got wrong the most. Now, I will say this survey stops, this research stops in 2019. Since then, the teams have gotten wide receiver right almost every time. Go take a look at the last 5-6 drafts at wide receiver. Teams have figured it out. I mean, only the Eagles, when they didn't draft Jefferson there, and they took the kid from Arizona State. I mean, honestly, there are very few misses with first-round wide receivers in the last 5 years. But in the first 19 years of this century, teams got it wrong 73% of the time.
I could give you one from recent history that was a miss for fun. N'Keal Harry to the Patriots. Bill Belichick. Oof.
For the record, quarterback, 46%. 56 quarterbacks were taken in the first 19 drafts of the century. 26 got second contracts, 30 of them didn't. Now, obviously, the 2021 draft, that's 4 out of 5 that won't, so numbers can be skewed, but there you have it. There's a little draft research.
I like it. And we're getting all fired up for teams having a less than 50% chance of getting their pick right. And we celebrate it like it's the Super Bowl.
How about this? There's a 100% chance that you'll be entertained if you tune in to Miller and Moulton at twitch.tv tonight.
In fact, I'll give you your money back tonight if you're not entertained. That's the type of guarantee I will give on tonight's draft.
Draft's free, right?
100%, David.
Okay. By the way, can he suck up to us anymore? I mean, could you just tell him it's too late? He's fired. Zach Wilson has been fired. Okay.
Speaking of Zach Wilson, Zach, what do you got for the play of the day?
2 words. Heat culture. No Jimmy, no Terry Rozier, no problem, said the Miami Heat last night. Picked up a Game 2 win over the Boston Celtics in Boston. Tyler Hero led the charge. Here's a big bucket from him in the final minutes to keep the Celtics at a distance.
Huge trip for Miami here. Tyler Hero to his right. Gets a step on Holiday. Finished over Porzingis. He finished over the top of the Giant.
Drives past a great defender in Drew Holiday. Finishes over Porzingis. That's pretty impressive. Gave the Heat a double-digit lead with 2.5 minutes to play, and they'd hold on to win. 111-101. And guys, it's 1-1 in the series. Let's play, Boston. Let's play.
It is. I'm watching the whole second half. The fourth quarter starting. The Heat are up 10, and I'm sitting there going, Boston's going to come back and win this game. Not until there were 4 minutes left in that game that I think the Heat had won that game last night. Boston got it to 6 a couple of times, made it interesting, but the Heat kept making threes. Tough to beat a team with 23 three-pointers last night.
Yep.
Tough to beat a team with 23 threes.
Celtics with 22 in Game 1 in the win. Heat with 23 on 54% shooting from beyond the arc in Game 2. This is the only thing. Tatum and Brown with 61. The rest of the Celtics with 40. And remember, we wondered, Porzingis, all right, can he deliver? Last night, 30 minutes, 1 for 9, 6 points, no threes.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So the Lions have, Zoltar, like the fortune-telling robot. They built one that looks like Dan Campbell. It says they're calling it the Grit and Glory fortune teller. And it looks ridiculous. But if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
So we're getting Forsland Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He's doing the Colorado Winnipeg series Friday, Sunday, and then in between he's going to Vegas.
You know, last night it might have just been me, but now you're in my head with McDonough that not only does he not know any of the other players, he is so badly rooting for Boston in the series against Toronto that it's something.
Yeah, he roots for the Bruins and the Rangers. He's a New England guy because of his family, and he did Red Sox games and whatever. So he's, grew up rooting for the Bees, and he is pro Rangers because he knows their players. So he's just more comfortable talking about them. But he does a hockey game like a baseball game. And he didn't start out that way, but I thought, Mark, when they moved Ferraro down to in between the glass, and it's just him and Ferraro, although they have Emily Kaplan usually doing the interviews, but it's basically him and Ferraro, as opposed to him and Ferraro in the booth and somebody down in between the glass. That I don't know. I think since he's solo until the play stops, really, his natural inclination is to just do it like a baseball game. Yes, they will Irish, and until proven otherwise, Toronto will Toronto. I text Pat because as I was going to bed, the Blades were in overtime. And I text him and I go, you got to love overtime hockey when you have a 6 a.m. flight, right? Brian, and your Leafs played well too. That's, I think it's much easier to come back from game one. You didn't play that well. You clearly didn't play tough enough, but you actually played a really good hockey game last night. You were physical and you just got beat.
I was impressed at how physical Toronto was.
I'll be curious if they can keep playing this way.
I'm totally with you.
Because they have to if they're going to beat the Bruins, even though they lost last night.
I thought they had to get last night.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're Boston's coach, you got to come back with Swayman, right?
That's what I would do.
I mean, he's 2-0.
Right.
Hallmark's 0-1.
Oh, golly. Like 113 or something like that. It might have been more than that.
For the record, the game 2 Lightning Panthers was 121.
This might have been 123.
Okay.
133. Sorry.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Chris Perkins, top of the hour, talking Dolphins draft. 1 hour from now, Roy Cummings talking Bucks draft. Listen, we've talked a lot of NFL draft. We're hyped, the whole deal. Our poll question, how many quarterbacks you think go in the first round, 4, 5, or 6? Vote accordingly. For the record, I think 6. Mark, you?
I think it's 6 quarterbacks.
There you go. But there was some great sports last night. I mean, and I know there are a lot of people that are, down on the NBA and the ratings show it, but my goodness, how much more respect can you have for the Miami Heat? I mean, honestly, that's
How
they were
surprised-
14-point underdogs last night.
Right. I kept telling my wife that as we're watching the game. I go, they're supposed to lose this game by 15 tonight.
And they win by double digits on the road without two of their four best players. Remarkable.
And the Celtics afterwards said, well, we gave them, in most cases, we gave them the shots they wanted them to take. They just made them. So now what do you do? Give it to them again?
Yes.
I mean, if they hit them.
Yes. You play the exact same way because you don't believe that Miami is going to make 23 three-pointers again.
Okay, but they're pros. What if they do? I mean, that's the problem, Mark. That's the problem. We played them the way we wanted to play them. They just hit the shots today they didn't hit in game one. Well, if they do it 3 more times, you're going home.
Well, David, you said something earlier this week that I think is 100% true. It's the Celtics get bored. They get lazy. They start sleepwalking.
I didn't think they'd be bored last night because of how game one ended. With the Martin undercutting of Tatum. And, I mean, Tatum came up fired up. I mean, he had, 14 points in the first quarter? I mean, he was ready to go. I mean, the Celtics' big two scored 61 points. I mean, they're not the reason they lost. But when Tyler Hero's the player of the game, I mean, whew. Thing is, the Heat had 3-4 players who really chipped in last night. Caleb Martin, Bam. I mean, they had 3 guys in the 20s.
Porzingis was 1 of 9. He didn't even show up last night.
No.
He was awful.
You do know that's my question mark about them, though. Okay, it's one regular season. Porzingis is one thing. He's never done this in the playoffs. He's hardly played any playoff games. He's never played under pressure before. And Dallas bailed on him quickly. They didn't think, well, he's not a good enough Robin for Luka. We got to get rid of this guy. Now Boston's asking him to be the third wheel. 1 of 9 last night. I mean, you going to pass the ball to Porzingis in the fourth quarter of a tight playoff game? Well, at the top of your head, how many of those shots has he hit in his life?
Can't recall.
Exactly.
I mean, you
can't
recall.
So now I will say Miami did this in the finals last year with Denver. They got game 2. They went home 1-1, and we thought, oh, wow, we're at least going to get a 6-game series. And then Miami did, they were outmatched. And Denver just went on the road and beat them because they were better and they had better players.
And I think that's what happens here. I think it was a wake-up call, but it just shows, one, how good Spo is. How he can have players ready when everybody else has counted them out. It would have been easy for Miami to fold up and get swept and lose 2 in Boston and say, oh, well, no Jimmy Butler.
And I think, Mark, that Boston is going to go with what you said. They're not going to make 23 threes again. They're not going to shoot 53, 54% again. So if they shoot 43 threes again, they'll count on the Heat only make it, 16, 17 of them? Well, that's 18 to 21 points difference. And the Celtics lost by 10.
I don't think Caleb Martin's going 5 for 6 every game from beyond the arc.
Right. And I think, I will say, though, there were a lot of open threes. A lot of open threes. I mean, these guys are pros. I mean, there's a half dozen threes in which they ordered a Starbucks with no defenders in sight. But,
well, that's what good teams do. Hit open shots, right?
And there's no doubt Boston was like, you can shoot that 3 all day. Well, as a matter of fact, okay, I will.
And usually what happens, guys go home where they're a little bit more comfortable, and that's where the shots go in. So to do it on the road was unbelievably impressive out of the Heat.
especially from Caleb Martin, who the crowd was all over. He's like that hockey player, Marco. Every time he touches the puck, 18,000 boo. Okay, Caleb Martin was that guy last night because he's the one that undercut Tatum. The Boston media worked the fans into a frenzy. Remember, they had an extra day's rest. It was 72 hours to get ready for this game. And the crowd was hostile at the beginning of the game. And Caleb Martin's like, yeah, whatever. Please, give me a break. You get through one of our Heat practices. Talk to me about hostile.
Don't you guys think the Heat believe, if they, Spoelstra in particular, that if they can just tread water, extend the series as long as possible, maybe you get lucky and get Jimmy back for a game 6 or 7?
No, I don't think there's a chance Jimmy Butler comes back in the series.
I don't either. I don't
even think that's an option. I do think that the tread, everything you said up to that point,
yes.
I'm with you on.
Yes.
But he's the Celtics boogeyman is what I was getting to. That if you could just somehow get him back.
Well, I think the Heat are the Celtics boogeyman. I mean, this group of Celtics have only beaten the Heat once. In, I think, 4 playoff meetings. You know, Tatum and Brown, I think, are 1-3 against the Heat. In their
wasn't
career
it
in the
game
playoffs.
7 in the Eastern Conference Finals the year the Celtics made it to the finals and lost to the Dubs? Was that their one win over the Heat?
Yeah, and it was in Miami. And Jimmy Butler down 2, closing seconds, missed it, went for the win, shot a 3 and missed it. Yes. But Miami, after blowing a 3-0 lead, went into Boston last year and dominated them in a game 7. Dominated them. And yeah, I think Miami is thinking, let's just make we'll take 2-2 right now.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
We'll take 2-2 right now.
In fact, they'll take 3-3.
Oh, my goodness, would they ever. One game in Boston? I think they'd prefer it to be in Boston. All the pressure on the Celtics.
Because they know they can play in these situations.
Yeah, they just did.
And they need, Boston hasn't proven that they're a clutch team yet.
The biggest knock on Boston is they can't get over that hump. They can't get that last one to go, right? Is Jason Tatum a leader? Is Jaylen Brown a real number 2 like they're paying him to be?
Like, look at the difference in game 2s. Denver down 15 at the half, down 20 in the third quarter. What did they do? They went to work and beat the Lakers. What did the Celtics do yesterday in the second half? With a halftime lead, by the way, even though it was only 3. And until they do it, these are legitimate questions and concerns.
53-40 was the second half score.
But speaking of Boston, hey, if we're going to talk up the Lightning Panthers and all the hitting involved in the Lightning Panthers, and there's a ton of hitting, because they took the hitting in game 1 and raised it a little level in game 2. 121 hits in game 2 between the Panthers and the Lightning. Mark, how many hits in the Boston-Toronto game last night?
133 hits.
Yeah.
133. No overtime.
No.
60 minutes.
Right. 133.
And one of these teams is considered to be soft, and that's Toronto.
Right. The team with 68 hits is the soft team. Right. By the way, the Bruins and Leafs last night had more hits by themselves than the Rangers and Capitals had in their entire game 2 combined. That's how physical last night's game was.
And it was agonizing if you're a Leafs fan because they played the game that you want to see them play and still lost, David.
And Boston is laughing. For as disappointing as the Celtics were last night, the Bruins are like, we're getting the Leafs to play our game in their barn, and we're beating them. This is great. Look at them trying to be all tough, puffing their chests out. This is just how we play. They're having to force themselves to play like this.
And, you mentioned Marchand having the 2 goals in the starting 5, but it was his play on the goal he didn't score.
Right.
Where he took Bertuzzi down. That might have been the biggest play of all of them.
He's top 3 most hated guys in the league, isn't he?
David, if hockey were anywhere close to the level of the other sports, he'd be top 3 in sport.
I know.
He is such a little rat, and he's so good.
He is. I just so want him on all my teams. Golly.
I mean, if there's one guy that's easier to hate than that in sports, you're going to have to find him for me.
And he even looks a little bit like a rat, the eyes and the dark features. And, he kind of crinkles his nose all the time when he's snarling at you. I love him. Hate him and love him.
All at the same time.
Absolutely.
I mean, is that Draymond in basketball?
Yeah, that's a good comp. That's a good comp. Universally disliked.
And yet, how many of the teams in the NBA would go, wait, we can get Draymond? Yeah.
29.
We'll take him.
Right, and it'll never happen because the one team will never let him go.
No, Steph will retire, I think, before he'll let Draymond go. And that's like, the Brad Marchand. Brad Marchand, we can get Marchand. Get him! Trade me if you have to. Get him!
Put it this way. It looks like this offseason, the Warriors are about to opt to take Draymond and cut Klay loose. That's what we're looking at.
Totally.
Klay Thompson is getting the shaft in favor of Draymond Green.
But we got just the playoffs are so awesome. I mean, the Heat Celtics last night, Bruins Leafs. It's really, they really do deliver. Not every game, not every league, not every sport, but man, oh man.
And 2 monster games tonight in the NHL. Lightning Panthers, Lightning season's on the line, down 2-0. They're not coming back from 3-0. I mean, this is as must-win as must-wins get without a lose-go-home scenario being in front of you.
Are you going to have that on the second TV?
Oh, yeah.
Because the draft is the draft, right?
Right. I can't do anything about that. I mean, the draft will get – I'm going outdoors, so I'm doing the draft poolside. So background TV will be on the hockey game.
And unfortunately, I'm barricaded in the bedroom. I got one TV. I can't even see it directly.
David, is there a TV in the room you're in right now? The room
Yeah.
you're still from?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in my bedroom. All right. It's on the side wall here.
Do you have it on? Is it on right now?
No. But I have to back away from the screen and turn my head to look at and see what's on. So I got one TV. That's it. I mean, I know I'll have NFL Network's coverage on because the other coverage drives me nuts.
If there's one guy in America that's not going to have a 2 TV setup, it's David Moulton.
Ever. He, by himself, will try to keep sports bars in business.
I do have a little Mel Kiper in me. All right. And not just the hair. All right. But the whole, Mel doesn't have a cell phone, but he's got 4 landlines in his house, but doesn't have a cell phone. Has 4 landlines, though.
He's an odd guy.
Yes.
He's a very odd guy.
There are a lot of people that think he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, though, as a contributor. That what he helped popularize here. I mean, when you think of the draft, I mean, he comes up quickly, doesn't he?
Very quickly, David. I wouldn't object to him being in the Football Hall of Fame. Like it would, if they said they're putting him in as a contributor, would you be up in arms over that?
Up in arms, no. Contributors pretty broad. Jerry Jones or Mel Kiper Jr.? Who's contributed more to the NFL?
Jerry Jones.
He's
made all the owners a lot of money, David.
He did.
Since 1990, I'd say Mel Kiper, excuse me.
I'd go Jerry.
Okay.
And it's not that close to me.
Okay. Well, money talks with Mark.
Always has, David.
It's that whole push to play. Miller and Moulton. Chris Perkins, Dolphins draft next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Belichick is talking about doing a podcast?
Where are you seeing that?
Well, because, more and more stuff's coming out. Like he's doing the draft tonight with McAfee. He's going to be on the Manning cast virtually every week. He's apparently writing a book.
Why Robert Kraft sucks?
And there's talk of a podcast. Now, listen, don't you have to, if you're doing the podcast, don't you have to call it We're On to Cincinnati? I mean, come on. And you start every podcast by finding that audio clip and playing it. And then he comes out, hey, it's Bill.
Either that, since everything's on video, he cuts the sleeves off the sweatshirt to start every podcast.
I'm here with Gronk. Hey, Rob. What you been up to? Nice first pitch at the Red Sox game.
Well, I was at Edelman. It was all over him going, he's going on McAfee's not doing mine first. What the hell is this?
So our friend had a 3-bet parlay last night. Heat in the points, Celtics under 109, OKC -7. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yes. 1994, it was Bill Tobin, who died last week, by the way, on Friday. Bill Tobin's first draft as Colts GM, and he took Trev Alberts at 5 instead of Trent Dilfer when everyone thought the Colts needed a quarterback. But he did sign Jim Harbaugh. Or no, Harbaugh was already there. I don't know if Trent's going to get liquored up. Is he coming over your house?
I don't think I can because I don't know if we'll be able to do it.
I'm not going to be able to drive anyway, so I'm not doing that.
All right.
Smart. Okay, we got him. Here we go.
I'm getting hooked on phonics.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 3 of Miller and Moulton on this NFL Draft Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Roy Cummings, who covers the Bucs, will join us in 35 minutes. We'll get his thoughts on what they're going to do, should do over the next 3 days in the draft. And that's why we're talking with Chris Perkins once again, who is a tremendous columnist for the Sun Sentinel, writing about mostly the Dolphins. You can follow Chris on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Chris, David, and Mark, good morning. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Fellas, I got so much information running through my head right now. It's just like information overload, man. The names and the trade possibilities and all kinds of scenarios, man. It's a beautiful thing, but I'm very confused right now.
Well, I mean, the Dolphins are in an interesting spot with this draft at 21. They need offensive linemen. They need an edge player. It kind of depends on how this draft falls to what Miami's going to do, right, Chris?
That's exactly right. So let's run through some of the scenarios here because I would like to see them get an edge rusher in the first round because, both Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips are recovering from injuries. They probably won't be 100% until mid-season if they reach 100% at all. Chubb with the knee injury, the ACL, Jalen Phillips with the Achilles. At offensive tackle, you need a successor to Teron Armstead, your Pro Bowl left tackle. He's aging. He's breaking down. He's probably got about 10 starts in him, let's be honest. So you need somebody who can play this year and a successor. You don't have that guy on the roster. You don't have that edge rusher on the roster. You signed Shaq Barrett, but he's aging. You lost Andrew Van Ginkel in free agency. So I like them getting edge rusher, offensive tackle in the first 2 rounds, but they also need a defensive tackle to replace Christian Wilkins, and they also need interior line help at either center or guard, depending on how you want to configure things. So those are the 4 positions that I would like to see them attack or plan for in the first 2 rounds, and I would like to see them go edge rusher, offensive tackle in the first 2 rounds.
Chris Perkins, Sun Sentinel, covering, writing, talking about the Dolphins. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, Perk. How much, or how rephrase it, Chris? How important is it to Miami to acquire a third or fourth round pick in their dealings today or tomorrow? Or are they okay with drafting in the first and second round and then not picking again until the fifth?
Well, I favor them trading down. I have a scenario in my last mock draft where the Dolphins trade from 21 to 31 with San Francisco, and the Dolphins pick up a second round pick. And so, let's go over some names, first of all. So I have them taking Latu. I butchered this kid's name. The edge rusher from UCLA. I should know it. I talked to him at the Senior Bowl. But I have them taking Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA in the first round. If he's gone, they could take Jared Burks, the edge rusher from Florida State. They could also go with Darius Robinson, the edge rusher inside defensive lineman from Missouri. Chop Robinson, the edge rusher from Penn State. If you want to go offensive tackle in the first round, Amarius Mims from Georgia will probably be there at 21. What about Graham Barton from Duke? He could play inside, center or guard or tackle. He played left tackle at Duke, but some people think that he's definitely an interior offensive lineman in the NFL and that center is his best position. So you could take him. My trade down scenario is that the Dolphins, like I said, they trade down to number 31 and they pick up a second round pick, and then they draft Jordan Morgan, the offensive tackle from Arizona. And with him, he's primarily a left tackle, but you could put him inside at guard, and he could play there as a rookie. That's what they did with Laramie Tunsil, you remember. And then when Teron leaves, you put him at left tackle. So those are some names and some scenarios. I don't have the Dolphins trading up in any realistic scenario.
Well, they don't really have the capital, Chris, so I think we're with you on that.
Right.
But if in your scenario, if they go to 31, and if somehow, there's been a lot of talk of Detroit trading with Vegas so that Vegas comes up and gets Penix. If they don't make that move, and Miami was at 31, I could see them trading with Vegas again and having 3 second-round picks because, again, without a third or a fourth, you've named 4 areas of need for the Miami Dolphins, and they've only got 2 picks.
No, you're exactly right. And so here's one of the things with the Dolphins. To me, the first and second round picks need to contribute immediately. Like you really, and so that would be the advantage of if you go tackle, you can kick him inside and he gets some snaps at guard, right? So I don't think you can take a developmental guy and quarterback to me is just off the table. And so you're not going to take somebody, a running back or, a tight end or anything. Well, Brock Bowers is there, but anybody else. So these guys have to contribute immediately. And because you do have so many holes, and because at 21, there's nobody that you're in love with, right? At number 21, it's pretty much throw some names in a hat. There's 3 or 4 possibilities. You're not picking in the top 5 here. So I would love to see him trade back again. I would, because second and third round picks, those are still immediate contributors, rotational guys. I think in the Dolphins situation, there's nobody you're in love with at 21. So the more quality picks you can get, meaning first, second, third round, the better off you are.
It's a dangerous trade down, though, isn't it? 21 to 31, even 21 to, 30, 21 to, like Green Bay's at 25. Because like the guys you mentioned, Chris, at 21, most of those D linemen you mentioned are going to be available. By 31, most of those guys are probably going to be gone. I mean, and wouldn't you prioritize D linemen over O linemen in terms of the first round? Because there's more O linemen. There's probably better quality on the O line available in the second round than there will be on the D line.
Exactly. Yes. I agree with what you said. The trade down, the defensive line is probably off the table if you trade down to 31. Any of those guys that I mentioned, Latu, I didn't mention Byron Murphy from Texas or Johnny Newton from Illinois as inside guys also who could be available at number 21. By 31, yeah, those guys are probably gone, but you still pick up a second round pick and you can get another quality player. But you're right, it's a risky move at a trade down, but you're not in love with anybody at 21, and to me that's the better rationale for the trade down. That's how I would justify it.
And Mark, like if I'm the Dolphins, Green Bay is 25. They have 2 2s and 2 3s. Okay. Dolphins don't have a third round pick. I would say to Green Bay, you want to move up 4 spots? Give me either 88 or 91. Give me one of them. I'll move down 4 for a third round pick I don't have. 31 scares the hell out of me. I got to be honest. Well, it does because Chris, I mean, you're right. All the guys you mentioned, like, first off, if you're the Dolphins, let's just say Verse and Latu are gone by 21. Now you're scared. You're like, oh my goodness, the edges are going.
And Chop Robinson's so raw. I mean, Chris, what are you hearing about Chop Robinson if the Dolphins are interested? Because we've been talking about him a lot as a, big workout guy, but not a lot of actual tape on Chop.
Yeah, no, you're right. Chop Robinson, Darius Robinson. Yeah, the edge guys would be they would be dwindling. It's going to be an interesting thing. I'll say this: when you talk about edge rusher and offensive tackle in the first 2 rounds, I agree. I favor edge rusher because it's a more impactful position. Also, right? That offensive tackle, yes. But you're really looking at left tackle for a left-handed quarterback. So, the right tackle is his blind side. That's the more important one. Now, there's going to be some legit edge rushers coming at him, so from both sides, so you can't ignore it. But I would prioritize edge rusher in the first round. If you ask me what should the Dolphins take in the first round at number 21, I say edge rusher, although offensive tackle wouldn't necessarily be the wrong answer.
Chris, we had a guest yesterday talking Jags, and one of our questions was the Jags right now on paper, the same, better, or worse than they were when the season ended. If I asked you that same question about the Dolphins, the same, better, or worse, what's your answer?
Worse. Look, they had a lot of talent walk out that door, right? Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle, Rob Hunt, guard. Both of them overpaid, but the Dolphins need that talent. Xavier Howard at cornerback. Yes, he was aging, but he's better than his replacement, Kendall Fuller, that they signed from Washington as a free agent. Even a guy like Andrew Van Ginkel at edge rusher, you need him now because Phillips and Chubb are injured. A guy like Brandon Jones, who is depth at safety. And look, all these guys that I named, they're draftees, aren't they? They're guys that the Dolphins drafted, and they let them all walk out the door, quality players. So you are a lesser talented team this year. However, that doesn't mean you can't be a better team. And I always get back to this. Mike McDaniel, they've got to use their talent different. And we hear a beginning of that with Anthony Weaver, the new defensive coordinator who came over from Baltimore. He said that he wants to use Jalen Ramsey as a chess piece, move him all over the field, have him shadow receivers. Vic Fangio was reluctant to that. So already you're using your talents better. Offensively, I've been saying I would like to see him develop a number 3 receiver, whether it's a slot receiver, tight end, running back, whatever. Develop that number 3 receiver. Get a power runner so you have better options in short yardage. So you could be a better team with lesser talent. You just have to deploy your talent differently. So they're worse, but they could be better.
10 seconds. If the Dolphins could pick one guy who realistically is available at 21, who would it be?
I would say Jared Verse. Latu will probably be gone, so I'd say Jared Verse, the edge rusher from Florida State.
He's Chris Perkins, tremendous columnist, Sun Sentinel. His head is bursting at the seams with too much information. So follow him on X. He's got to get it off his chest, off his brain. Follow him at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Chris, don't explode. We'll talk to you soon about how they did.
All right, guys. We'll do it again. Thanks.
Chris Perkins. Always gracious with his time with us here on Miller. and Moulton.
Absolutely, and has good information. And you look at the Dolphins and our poll question: 6 quarterbacks going early helps Miami because it keeps edge rushers on the board. Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commission and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think her name's Nicole Gabe, is who I was referencing.
Okay.
Well, Cooper being at home, he can get better. He can keep Kucherov and Point away from the Barkov line more and also away from their number one defensive pairing. So I'd like to think that Point and Kucherov are going to have their best game of the series tonight. But, I mean, the Panthers are better. The Panthers are deeper. They are.
You know, Pat Maroon's a big man.
Oh, my goodness. He was great on the Lightning.
That's a big human right there.
I love those two guys just skating back and forth at the center line pregame while everyone else is warming up. Like their own border patrol. Yeah, you don't challenge Pat Maroon to a fight, man. No way.
Golly.
Well, I mean, Vasilevsky's the better goalie, but Bob played great. You know, I mean, Vasilevsky's better A game is better than Bob's. It just is. I mean, come on.
It's
But
nice
Bob's
to have a Vasilevsky, David.
exactly. It's like a Joe Burrow. If you can get a Joe Burrow and you can get a Vasilevsky, I'm telling you, things work out usually. But Irish, you know, that's why
Here we go.
Vasilevsky played his A game and they lost.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Roy Cummings in a little more than 15 minutes time. We'll talk Tampa Bay. The Bucks probably going to be boring, right? Just going to hang out. Where are they? 26? Just hang out, you know, wait until it's their turn, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, they need dudes. Even though they've won the division, 3 years in a row? They need dudes. They also have 2 third-round picks to the Bucks. They got a 1, a 2, and 2 threes. They're both late, but they got a 1, a 2, and 2 threes.
So what corner are the Bucks going to take?
Well, if you're Detroit, there is a good possibility that the defensive guy that you want, Tampa Bay goes, no, sorry, we're 3 picks ahead of you. We're going to take. So you beat us in the playoff game. So that's why we're taking this guy. And that's why what Chris Perkins was just talking about, Mark, you know, once you get past Pittsburgh at 20, now I think the defensive players start going. I think it is largely offense, 1 through 20. Largely offense. 2 corners tops, at most 3 defensive linemen. I think at most, Mark, at most 5 of the first 20 will be defense. But beginning at 21, game on. Now, Philly might move from 22, move up and take, you know, I think they'll move up and take a corner. The number 1 corner. I think Jacksonville's sweating at 17. If the number 1 corner is the kid from Toledo, Quinion Mitchell, Jacksonville's sweating, will Terrion Arnold fall to them at 17?
And I've seen those 2 flipped. I've seen Arnold ranked higher than Mitchell.
Right.
But those are the 2, for sure, first-round corners.
And Denver with no second-round pick. I think Denver is also, you know, do they have to take Bo Nix at 12? I mean, who's going to take Bo Nix? if it's not Denver. I mean, this is, are you really, can you trade down to 20, 21, 22? If you're Denver, you sure you're going to lose Bo Nix? I mean, it's a gamble. There's no doubt. But you don't have a second round pick. You know, Philly's got 2 of them. Don't you say to the Eagles, you want to move up to 12 from 22? Done. Give me your one of your 2 second round picks. You can move up 10 spots. Take whoever you want on defense. You move down to 22, you take Bo Nix, you pick up a second round pick.
Boy, that's a long way to move for just a second round pick.
Huh? I mean, maybe you can get more. I mean, Philly's got 3 5s. You know, I mean,
I would demand one of those.
Okay.
I mean,
so fine, give me a 2 and 2 5s.
All I know is I want you on the other line when I'm trading if I can get away with some of these picks.
Well, a second round pick's a lot of real from the whole points thing. I'll bet you a second round pick to move 10 spots is actually pretty close points wise. We might have to swap, you know, trade swap some picks and what have you. You know, I'll give you my 4th. You got to give me, like, Denver's got 3 5s. Philly may have to give them their 4th round pick and take one of Denver's 5s back, you know, from a points thing, just so it all adds up. And I know it's Howie Roseman on the phone, so you're probably a little scared to answer it. I get it. But
I do think you have a point that if Bo Nix isn't taken by Denver at 12, where is Bo Nix taken?
Where is he going?
And I think that's why the Vegas line has him at 32.5, where he's going to be picked.
Right. Well, and quite frankly, if Penix doesn't go in the top 15, how far down does he go?
He goes 29
to
the Raiders.
You think he falls into the mid to late 20s and somebody's trading back in to grab Nix and Penix? But you and I both think they're going first round. That's our poll question, by the way. How many quarterbacks go in the first round? 4, 5, or 6? And Miller and Moulton both think the answer will be 6.
Right now, so do you. 41% of the vote says 6 will be taken in the first round. 31% of the vote says that 5 will be taken in the first round, and the rest goes with 4. You can go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or Miller_Moulton on X to vote.
I mean, there's a part of me that hopes that both Nix and Penix don't go in the top 13. You know, Nix has been linked to Denver at 12. Penix has been linked to Vegas at 13. I would love to see them fall past Seattle at 16 because now the phones, I think, start really churning. Because then, Mark, also what will have happened? I mean, if you want a really good defensive player, you know, you want Latu, say, or Verse, like Miami would want, to fall to 21. Well, if Denver and or Vegas is not taking quarterbacks at 12 or 13, you're like, oh, blank. Really? Because then they're doing what? Taking a corner, an offensive lineman, or a defensive lineman. And you're like, well, I wanted one of those. And the quarterback falling to you, now it might get you a very attractive trade offer. Once you get past Pittsburgh, it could, you know, Miami's phone could ring off the hook if Nix and Penix are both still available.
I agree with that.
And now if you're the Dolphins, you're like, oh, blank. I didn't necessarily want to trade out, but these are some really good offers. And not only that, I can probably get a first round pick next year. Huh. I might have to really consider this. So there's a part of me that hopes the quarterbacks fall. And do you think if you're Minnesota, you got the guts? You got the guts not to give up your 2 1s and something else to the Chargers at 5? Do you have the guts?
No.
Okay.
Because the Giants are going to take McCarthy if he's there at 6.
You're convinced of that?
It would be the very Giant thing to do, and you know I'm right over there.
Well, I do believe that the GM and the coach are done with their current quarterback, who contractually they have to keep for this year. I do. I believe they would love to move on. My guess is they have a very short list of guys in this draft that they want to move on with because their careers then get tied to them and get tied to them in 2 years or less.
Drafting a quarterback can certainly save your job, but it can lose it a lot more quickly if you're wrong.
So I'm just curious, if you're Minnesota, how much poker are you playing tonight? Let's just say we're right. New England and Arizona don't budge. Elliott Wolf's like, listen, my boss wants a quarterback. I'm sorry. I got to turn all the deals down. I'm taking Drake May. Okay. And Arizona's like, yeah, Marvin Harrison, neighbors. Absolutely. There's no way. Sorry. Taking him. Okay. Great. So now the Chargers are saying to Minnesota, what's your best offer? And Minnesota goes, I'll give you 11 and 23, but I'm not giving you anything else. Chargers go, okay, we'll get back to you. You going to sit and wait by the phone if you're Minnesota? Or are you eventually going to pick it up with 5 minutes on the clock?
I wouldn't have the patience to sit there if I'm Minnesota. I wouldn't. I've got to get my quarterback. I've screwed this up 6 ways from sideways, and now I've got to make sure that I get this done. And I can't just sit there and hope.
So you're okay with J.J. McCarthy then? Remember, you're the Vikings. That's who's available. Or Penix or Knicks. But because that's the other thing, Mark. Like, you're into Penix.
Yeah,
I like Penix. You could sit to 11 and most likely get Penix.
That's what I would do. I don't think Minnesota's in that. I don't think they feel they're their position. I think they want McCarthy. Roy Cummings to talk the Bucs next on Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I love the random text I start getting on draft day.
Yeah.
Buddy, be a friend of mine, and I shouldn't say a buddy, more of an acquaintance, but friendly.
People come out of the woodwork.
He just listened to the Vikings talk. He's like, I'm with you. I'd stay and draft Penix. I'm like, I don't think they're going to. He's like, I don't either, with the mad emoji face.
I'll tell you, as a Lions fan, I hope they pick J.J. McCarthy. Oh, it'd be awesome. I can just continue to hate on him. Like with the Bears and Caleb Williams, it's different. I like Caleb Williams. I have this whole time at USC. I think he's going to be great. I liked him at Oklahoma. Irish, I want to pay Goff. I do. I think he's earned it. And it's the offense as a whole, but that offense as the engine, I mean, they accomplished more than all the other Lions teams in my life combined. Got to keep the band together.
Good morning, Roy.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Excellent. Yourself?
No complaints. Everything good?
Everything is good.
Love the Kraken jersey or shirt.
I told my son, because Father's Day's coming up. I go, I have no Red Wing gear. I own nothing Red Wing, and that is my team. I said,
okay.
Very, very exuberant and disappointing end of the season. They scored the goal to tie it. Literally 30 seconds later, the empty netter's given up by Philadelphia, and the season was over. It was.
Yeah, I was watching both of those games, flipping back and forth, and that was a lot of fun. I'll tell you what. I think Detroit would have given the Rangers a better series than what the Capitals have so far.
I'm not sure, but I don't know if I would have liked to have just seen them get in. It would have been nice.
Yeah,
but
I would have too. Yeah, I'm a fan of that team as well. Though I like what they've done there.
I'll be curious what happens tonight with Tampa.
Yeah, me too. Oh boy, I think they can come back. I don't know if they can win the series, but I think they can come back and make it a series.
I agree.
They just got to be quicker on loose pucks. They got to be one step quicker than Florida, and so far that hasn't been the case.
Well, they need Point and Kucherov to step up tonight now that they're at home.
Yes,
get them off that top D pairing, get them off of Barkov a little bit. I think that'll be a big difference.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I think that'll help it a lot. But you know what? I mean, Florida's so good 5-on-5, and Tampa's not that good 5-on-5, and
Correct.
That's kind of where this is coming from. Headed
Florida's
right now.
better. I mean, Roy, this is the first time Florida's better.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, absolutely.
No, they are, and this is the first time in a long time. Even last year, Florida's just better than Tampa. They're deeper. Yeah. They're better. They're third line compared to the Lightning third line. They're third defensive pairing to the Lightning third defensive pairing. They're better.
They are, and the goaltending is almost even right now.
Right. Well, that's what we talked about, Roy, that when's the last time Vasilevsky showed up in a playoff game and played his A game and they lost?
Yes. Great point. And, Bobrovsky's he's been just as good, which is really all he's got to do. If you can match Vasilevsky.
They have no shot if the goaltending's close to even.
Here's the other thing. I don't think Tkachuk has had his best game yet. So there's still more to come from Florida.
Here we go.
Look, going in, I thought there were two teams Tampa didn't want to face, Boston and Florida.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
We know he's in a good mood because his Cubs are off to a 15-9 start. So, anything is possible with Roy Cummings after that. R. Cummings, FHCN on X. We're talking Tampa Bay Bucks. Hope you've been well. Thanks for your time, Roy. How are you?
I am good. Thanks for having me, guys. Yes, Cubs are well as well. That's good to hear. Anytime you can take two from the Astros, don't care where you are, don't care how you do it, you're doing good.
26th. And 2/3. So in the first 2 days of the draft, they got 4 picks. And if you're Tampa Bay, their general manager has been very aggressive in the past. Okay, moving up, moving down. Your thoughts as to the Bucks and their approach 11 and a half hours before the draft?
Well, they can do an awful lot of different things. I think they're one of the more intriguing teams in the draft because of Jason Light's aggressiveness. As you've said, he can move up to get somebody. He can move down to add more picks, add a pick in the second round, perhaps somehow. He could do a lot of different things. He could sit tight and let this draft come to him, which I think the way this one's working out with all the quarterbacks, again, this is going to be a top-heavy draft in terms of quarterback play. Quarterbacks are going to be taking, 6 probably in the first 15 picks or so, first 20 picks at least. That pushes a lot of good talent that the Bucs need and can use down into their range. Guys like Chop Robinson, Graham Barton. This is what allows this draft to work so well for the Buccaneers, because a lot of the talent that might be taken in the 17th pick or 18th pick could suddenly fall to them at 26 now. And so I think they'll have a bit of a choice, really. Is it Jared Verse? Is it Chop Robinson? Is it Graham Barton? Is it Tyler Guyton? What do they want to do? Where do they want to fill the hole the most? I think they can do it easily. Do they want to go defensive back? There's a lot of things they can do right where they are, and a lot of moves they can make to move up to get the player they want. So I think they're in pretty good shape, considering that they're picking 26th overall.
Well, and I love where you're at with Barton, because I think that addresses a lot of. They have a need. They have a need at center. He's versatile, that he can play other positions on the line. But I look at Tampa as a spot also as I could see them trading out of it, Roy, because if one of those quarterbacks slides, there's going to be an opportunity for Tampa to maybe accumulate more picks, because they do have a few needs going into this draft, don't they?
They do. But as you said, as you're alluding to at least, I think the offensive line is the greatest need. I really do. I think that is where they need help the most. And to me, a guy like Barton, who's probably the best center in the draft, and do you want to trade up to get a center? Most teams wouldn't do that, but I think Jason Light would. Look, he traded up to get a kicker once, didn't work out. But if you get Graham Barton and he just turns out to be exactly what you want him to be, you're talking 12 years or more anchoring your offensive line, and it could be at center, could be at guard. So he's very versatile, allows you to do a couple of different things. I like him a lot. He's the one player I would trade up to get. I don't know that I would trade up to get Chop Robinson. Don't know that I'd trade up to get Kool-Aid McKinstry or any of the defensive backs. I think there's enough of those in that spot, in that second third of the first round, third third of the first round, that they can sit tight and get one of those guys, or even trade down and get one of those guys. But I think if it's either Chop Robinson or Jared Verse that they want, or Graham Barton, I think they probably might have to trade up to get him. But again, it all depends on how the draft falls.
Well, now we're talking, because we just talked to Chris Perkins, who covers the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are at 21. The Dolphins don't have a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick. Tampa Bay's got 2/3. Now, they also don't have a fourth, but if Jared Verse is on the board at 21, if Latu is on the board at 21, I mean, could you imagine back-to-back drafts? They get Cansey and then one of those two defensive linemen. It's Roy. Don't you get, if the Dolphins say, "Hey, give me your second, third-round pick," okay, and you can move up 5 spots, and you could take either Verse or Latu, I make that deal, Roy.
I do too. Although I don't know that I make it for Verse. And here's the thing. I don't know that Verse fits the Buccaneers scheme. I may be wrong, the way they evaluate it. The way I look at him, Verse would have been a great pick when Monty Kiffin's running the Tampa 2. To me, he's more of a Derek Brooks type, a guy who's got more speed and athleticism than size. To me, Chop Robinson is the guy, or Barton, as we talked about, that you move up to get the guy you want. But again, they may see it differently, but still, no, I totally agree with you that may be the deal to be made, is that you talk to Miami and say, all right, we'll give you one of our thirds for 5 spots. And, I think it could work out very well for him. That way, you don't let it come to you. You go and be aggressive. And I thought we all know that's what Jason Light likes to do.
I've seen a few mocks where they go corner in the first round and taking Nate Wiggins and Clemson. I've seen this associated with Tampa. I do like the fact that there's a guy that's going to be a day 2 pick named TJ Tampa that to me has to be a draft pick of the Tampa Bay Bucks. It just makes too much sense. But is corner deep enough that they can wait till Friday?
I think it is. I think they're okay at the position. And I think there's enough depth in the draft at that position that they can wait there as well. Look, we all know the edge rushers are the premium guys. And this year, for whatever reason, typically offensive linemen, fall in the first, the latter half of the first round. So again, but I still think their greatest need is offensive line. The luxury pick to me is a defensive back, and the pick that probably helps you the most immediately is probably the defensive end. So that's kind of how I look at it. And again, that's that's why the Bucs have so many options that they can kind of look at. To me, need one is offensive line. A guy like Barton is a perfect fit. Need two is a defensive end or edge rusher like a Chop Robinson, Jared Verse. And then need three is the cornerback or the defensive back that you can move around a little bit. So that's how I look at it. And again, if they see it the same way, now it's a matter of who can you find a dance partner to make a trade so you can get the guy that you want if he's there.
What if Powers Johnson is getting dangerously close to Miami at 21? Would you trade up? And I'm with you. Graham Barton would be a perfect plug-and-play guy. I think early to mid-second round, that Zach Frazier center guard from West Virginia would be a good plug-and-play guy if they move down, and that's who somebody maybe they settle on. But, Powers Johnson, probably the second best interior offensive lineman in the draft.
Right.
And like we're talking about, Roy, if you start doing the math with the quarterbacks and then you do the math with the wide receivers, and now all of a sudden you look around, you got players available around 19, 20, 21, 22 that a lot of drafts would go 12 to 15.
Yes, exactly. Which is why you just love being where the Buccaneers are, because it does somewhat. Now here, okay, to answer your question, yes, to me, that's another guy that I think you would trade up to get, Powers Johnson. And here's why, or part of the reason why. The last two drafts, the Buccaneers have kind of drafted projects, okay? Cansey not as much, but 2 years ago, they kind of drafted guys who needed a little bit of development. I think this time around, if you can do it, and it's possible because of the way the draft is falling, get that plug and play guy. And if it, and they've also addressed defensive line first, the last couple of picks, these last couple of drafts. So I like the idea of going after the offensive lineman. If it's not Barton, I don't have a problem with Powers Johnson. Again, they love versatility and both have it. And I think that's important. There's definitely a hole at guard. If they can fill that spot, fine. If they get a tackle, even better.
Well, and the center's not good enough. I mean, they have a hole at guard, but they're inadequate at center, though, right? I mean, let's be honest. He needs to be a swing offensive lineman, not a starter.
Probably. But they did draft Hainsey high. They had an intent of making him the future center. It's happened sooner than they wanted it to. Maybe with a year under his belt and a little bit of more coaching, they feel better about it, but
he just doesn't seem to me, Roy, strong enough, if you know what I mean. Right. He gets pushed. Teams against the Bucs get pushed up the middle. He's an undersized center, or at least he plays like an undersized center to me.
Well, look, guys, what do we talk about most of last year? The inability of the offensive line to really open up enough holes and get enough push for the running game to work. It took 7 weeks or more for it to happen. And finally, when it did, we saw the best of the Buccaneers offense. So again, that's why I see offensive line as the number one need. And if you believe that 4 years later, that Robert Hainsey is, as you said, a swing interior lineman, a backup, a fill-in, okay, fine. Go get better. That's what, the draft is all about. Go fill the holes that you have, and the opportunity is there. They're not in the perfect spot for it necessarily. But again, the way the draft could fall, and if there's a trade partner, they could make it happen. And I think they will. Again, that's the spot that I definitely trade up for, is one of those offensive linemen, whichever one they think is best. And it may not be Barton. It may not be Powers Johnson. It may be somebody else. It depends on how they evaluate them. But I know that they love versatility, and both of those guys have it. I think they'd be great picks wherever the Buccaneers decide to make that selection.
So if they stand pat and get a lineman, how would you want to see Friday go for the Bucs? And they get their lineman at 1. What do they do on Friday, Roy?
I really think, again, that's where I think the depth is there to get a cornerback. And if you can find an edge rusher that's, just again, kind of a developmental guy, go ahead, because they do a pretty good job at developing them. There's no doubt about that. So I don't have a problem there. And you know what? If you can steal a wide receiver, you got to start looking ahead to the days when Mike Evans isn't there. So maybe not a bad place to get a wide receiver. And also I'd be looking at running back. I think there's more moves. I think they want to get back into the second round to address some of those needs. I wouldn't be surprised if this team drafts a running back We'll see how that goes, see if the draft falls to him, but I think that's a spot. But more than anything, second day, I think you got to come away with a defensive back.
How much longer do you think Vita Vea is still a dude, if you know what I mean? Because I'm curious, because I think the interior defensive linemen are going to be picked on Friday. And I'm thinking like Chris Jenkins of Michigan. If you're the Bucs, I don't know if he falls to you late in the third round, but I think that's a big guy who's on the board in the mid-50s there in the second round. I'm just curious, how much longer do you think Vita Vea is still a stud?
Well, I think you can get a good 2, 3, 4 years out of him if you limit his snaps to the snaps where he's going to excel. You don't want him out there 60 snaps a game. You want him out there for 40 snaps a game. Finding the guy who can fill in and do that, Cansey helps because now people got to look at him, and that helps Vita Vea. So I still think he's got a good look. He's a real diligent kid about trying to stay healthy. And, he's had a couple of bad breaks, but everybody does. But I think, stuff-wise, everything else, absent some horrible, injury of some kind, I think he's got a good 3-4 years left. I think he's solid. I don't think that's an area. I've looked at the situation. There's a couple of defensive tackles that could fall to him at 26, but I don't know that that's a need. I think it's more on the outside, on the edge. Tryon Chienka, still not the guy you want. Again, he could end up not being on this team this year if they can get the edge rusher they want. If they get Chop Robinson or Jared Verse, it could happen.
Roy, we got a great text from a listener saying, Roy's coming on. The last time you asked him about a book, he gave us Undaunted Courage, said it was a great read. What are you reading right now, Roy?
I am reading the book of Joe, the Joe Madden book about his time as a manager throughout the major leagues and a hitting coach throughout the minor leagues and everything else. It's a great book. It's a great read. It's his philosophy on baseball and life, and it's a fun read, guys. The Book of Joe by Joe Madden and Tom Verducci.
You think your Cubs have staying power?
I do, because I like what they're doing without some of their best players. Seiya Suzuki's hurt. Obviously, now they've got Cody Bellinger's hurt a little bit. The pitching staff's a little nicked up. I like what they're doing. I like the way they put the team together. Bullpen's a little bit concerning. If they can get that straightened out, I think they're going to be okay. I think they need a closer for sure. I don't know if Edward Aslay is the guy. I'm not sure they know it, but I feel good about him right now.
Roy Cummings covering the Bucs. Follow him on X, R Cummings FHCN, R Cummings FHCN. Enjoy the draft tonight in and around Lightning in the playoffs. The Cubs playing. Oh, you're going to be a mess tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I'll have the clicker going, that's for sure.
Thanks, Roy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it, as always.
Roy Cummings, kind enough to join us again, talking Bucs. Sounds like another team a lot like the Dolphins. They have needs at the line of scrimmage. One's picking 21, one's picking 26. There's more good offensive linemen than there are defensive linemen. So if you're Miami and Tampa, do you then lean defensive linemen early, offensive linemen tomorrow?
I couldn't get away from the Duke guy if I'm Tampa. Too much versatility for them. If he's there, I'm taking him.
Look at you two in love with Graham Barton. Little man crush going on between you and Roy on Graham Barton at Duke.
It's the one time a year we get excited about offensive linemen, David. It really is. The rest of the time, all we do is bitch about offensive linemen. But today, we're excited about the big fellas in the middle. Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour is next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That was pretty solid. So we got JP yesterday, and then Chris and Roy, previewing each team.
The Florida Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against the ACC.
Okay. Yeah, she threatened she was going to do that a couple days ago.
Well, but if you go back and look at destroying conferences, AGs have had a lot to do with helping that along. Why? The Florida Attorney General is asking a judge to force the ACC to turn over the media rights contracts that are at the center of an ongoing legal dispute between the ACC and Florida State.
Florida State is convinced that the ACC and ESPN were in cahoots to keep the money down.
Teacher, he's wearing a Jared Goff jersey, the brand new one. He just bought it. He got in the mail yesterday. He's wearing it to school.
What does he teach?
History.
That's a great class. You come up with a class, you come up with your syllabus, you keep that class the same forever and ever.
Yep. 10th grade history. Then he has one class that's a bunch of seniors. That's like an elective. I think it's like War and Peace or something like that. Got the results back yesterday, by the way. Cancer free.
Good.
We're all good.
That's awesome.
There you go. Now
Cheers.
we're talking.
More life. I gotta say, I did miss Roy. I love Roy's positivity.
Very much so.
Yes, you and Roy should have drinks together.
The sunshine hour.
Yeah, no question.
Happy, happy, joy, joy.
And as Deadstruck put it, we're very happy for your news. Okay, you're still fired, but that's okay.
8 p.m. Go Raiders. I don't know if Tannenbaum's got a bad green screen or something, but they just showed a clip and his hair looked like it was green.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Fourth and final hour of our first show of the day. 8 o'clock tonight. Miller and Moulton will be doing live first-round draft coverage from 8 until whenever it's done. So you got to figure on at least 11:30. Live on our
Moulton double dip.
Yep, Miller and Moulton. It's our twitch.tv channel. It's how you can see the show every morning. And there are many that do that, and we're very appreciative of it. I think it's how they're getting us in Jacksonville on the Action News Jax app is via Twitch. So that's how they see us. And during this, the Diamond District bonus hour, Trent Bally makes it a threesome on screen. You know, you see Mark, you see me, and you see Trent. And by the way, I thought today was Jersey Thursday.
Full transparency, I got a jersey in my bag. I just was getting a little hot over here. I had to take it off.
Did you have it on?
I did
earlier?
for about 10 minutes when I first got here, and then I took it off.
What is it?
It's my Lions jersey with T-Bal on the back.
T-Bal.
Yeah.
Bally.
Right.
Huh. So you had to be cool. You had to be T-Bal. You couldn't be T-Bally.
I bought it in high school, and I still have it.
Because it still fits.
I know, which is another reason to hate them. It really is. I mean, how many years ago was that now? 7, 8, and it still fits?
7.
Oh, my goodness. Lucky if I have something that fits 7, 8 months later. Golly. T-Bal, though, Mark. Not T-Bally. Right. T-Bal.
I'm hesitant to give him grief because we've already fired him. So what's really the sense of giving him more?
That's true. We're just pouring on at this point. Only one L?
Yes.
Okay, your last name has 2 L's.
Then it would be T-Ball.
Mark knows.
Which is why then you should have gone Bally, Balley.
I'm really struggling with this because it's not giving yourself a nickname, but it is using your own nickname on a jersey, which to me is a bit much. I'm not going to lie.
It's a lot. But I'm aware of that. My dad's nickname was Bal, so then I just stuck a T on the front. T-Bal. I don't know.
Well, and with his rapping skills from earlier in the week, I mean, you could see why.
Right. He was spitting bars on the show earlier this week.
No question about it. You know, featured opening act tonight, T-Bal. Oh, yeah. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. All right. 3 of us involved in the show from 3 different locations. There will be alcohol consumed. Okay. And that's even before the Giants pick at 6. But hello.
Yeah, my wife she says, you're working Thursday night, right? And I of course said yes. I mean, she's even taking the daughter to soccer tonight, getting me out of the practice run.
Wow, this is a big deal, this draft.
And the daughter, when I told my daughter last night, I said, I'm doing it outside. And I said, I'm thinking about starting the show with a cannonball into the pool. And she's like, well, I want to do that.
Okay.
My daughter, I said, well, it's on camera for the whole world to see.
Right.
My daughter, who won't come near this camera. I mean, we've tried numerous times. When we were doing the show out of my house, she would come in, I'd get a kiss goodbye when she left for school in the morning, but she didn't like that to be on camera.
She is the only 6, 7, 8, and now 9-year-old, soon to be 10, who's unbribable when it concerns getting her on the show. Because trust me, we've made offers that were every bit as good or better than what the Patriots have been fielding at 3. Honestly. Huge, massive offers to get her to just do like a minute reading something, answering something. Absolutely not. We are dead to her
Right.
as a show.
Right. But she may join me to cannonball into the pool tonight to begin draft coverage.
Wow. Is this going to be a father-daughter joint cannonball thing?
It will be a joint cannonball.
Oh, that'll be great. Just make sure that we're rolling,
No, I know.
Every now and then, we're about 10 minutes to 6 in the morning where we can see each other, that we don't hit the button that actually go live. So, okay, good.
But it will be Twitch only. We do put the show on Facebook. We put it on YouTube. Tonight will be only on Twitch.
Right.
So if you've never joined us on Twitch, if you've never, the app's right there. You can get it on. You can put us on the big screen. It's been done. People do it. I don't know why, but people do it.
I know. Usually they're related to us, but we'll invite anybody else to do it also.
Well, and David usually goes the extra mile. He tries to set up the lighting in the hotel room, move the furniture, soundproof everything. Of course, every now and then he'll be at where was it, El Paso or San Antonio? Where were you? Where it literally looked like you were in a war bunker.
That was El Paso.
The map behind you.
With the map wallpaper.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were as soon as the show was over, either we were getting attacked or I was invading a country. Yes, it was something for the Sun Bowl, which is always a glorious.
It did look a little like WW2 in color on Netflix.
It really did.
Blink once if you need help.
Yep. But fired up for the draft. I'm hoping for chaos, afraid we may not get it. And that really over under 6.5 trades. And I just threw that number out there. Over under 6.5 trades. I think we're going to go over, but I think they're all going to be in the final third of the draft. I really do. I think there will be a ton of movement in the second half to final third of the draft.
So do you think the Vikings are going to be able to move down? Or up, rather, and move up and get their quarterback? Do you think they'll get a trade done with either Arizona or the Chargers at 5?
Well, it's difficult to understand why the Chargers wouldn't do the deal. I mean, even if it's just if the Vikings play hardball and they only offer 11 and 23, if you're the Chargers at 5, wouldn't you take that? I mean, you've got needs. You just cut both wide receivers. I mean, for goodness sake, you've got needs. You can probably get the third best wide receiver in this draft at 11. That, to me, is the big gamble for the Chargers. If they want either Marvin Harrison, Neighbors, or a Dunze, will the Washington wide receiver, now expected to go third, will he still be there at 11? Or will Chicago take him at 9?
The other question for the Chargers to me, David, is I've seen a lot of stories that have come out in the last 5-6 days of who's actually the best receiver in this draft. That there are NFL executives that think that Neighbors is a better NFL prospect than Harrison. If the Chargers are one of those teams, I get what you're saying. Why wouldn't you move? Well, because you think Neighbors is the best receiver in the draft and you can get him at 5.
Okay. But if you can get a Dunze at 11.
Can you?
Well, that's just it. That's, to me, the gamble. Because let's just say the quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, and 5, and the top 2 receivers go 4 and 6.
Tennessee's going to take a tackle.
They should.
They're taking a tackle. They're staying put. They're taking a tackle. I
they
bet
should. They should. The only thing, once again, is if you believe where you're drafting early in the second round that you can grab a tackle in the early second round, because you're not going to get an edge rusher, okay, and they need one of those two with the first half dozen picks of the second round. So that I'm with you, Mark. I'm willing to bet large amounts of money they take a tackle. But if they don't, it's going to be because they're taking the best defensive lineman in the draft at 7.
Now, Atlanta, I think, takes an edge.
And I think they take Murphy, the defensive tackle from Texas.
But either way, they're going defense.
Yes, I will be very surprised. If Tennessee doesn't go tackle, we'll be surprised. If Atlanta doesn't go defensive line, we'll be surprised. Does anybody know what the Bears are going to do at 9?
Trade it.
Oh, that's the spot, David. That's where I think that receiver could go, because I have seen a few mocks where the Bears go receiver with their second pick.
Okay. Because remember, the Bears don't have a second rounder. So, they're at 9, and then they don't pick again to the third round. That's a long time. They still have a lot of needs. So if you're the Bears, do you trade down?
I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to use 9, package it somehow, and get
move
more
down.
or into, a late first or a second rounder, so they can space it out a little bit.
But trading down and finding a partner, if Minnesota's already traded up for the quarterback, who's rushing to get to that spot to take Chicago's pick?
Remember, the Bears have 4 picks in this draft. 1, 9, and then they've got like a third and a fourth. And that's it. That's all they got. They got 4 picks in this draft. So you got to be sold on the guy at 9, because you're only picking 2 more times.
I don't want to undersell the draft, but the Bears have really done a good job to set themselves up for a situation like this where they only have 4 picks. They went and got Montez Sweat.
I agree.
Back up that D-line, and they're going to now bring in Caleb Williams, who has Keenan Allen and DJ Moore to throw to, and Cole Kmet, who's a really solid, I believe, tight end. So I don't know if they even need that many draft picks, to be honest with you.
But you could potentially get the best edge rusher. You could potentially get the second best offensive tackle. You could potentially get an elite wide receiver, a wide receiver that most teams think will be a number 1 receiver, not a number 2. That's pretty tempting if you're the Bears and you're going to trade out. That's why, to me, if I'm the Chargers, I'm talking to the Bears right now, because I'm thinking about taking Minnesota's offer. But what is it I'm going to need to go from 11 to 9? If you know what I mean, that I can get the Bears who need picks, and I'll give them a couple just to move down 2 spots. Jets are probably going to go offensive tackle or Bowers. So, it just.
Chargers have 1 pick in every round, 2 fourths, for what it's worth.
Would you, if you're the Chargers, and Minnesota holds firm, would you move down to 11 and 23 for 5, and that's all they're going to give you? Would you do it?
Push comes to shove, I'd probably do it, David, because I think they need players.
Yeah, I would too.
On offense in particular. They're dumping a ton of money into their defense too, though. Oh. And not a whole lot to show for it, for the record.
I mean, don't you think Harbaugh's going to draft an offensive lineman?
Yes.
I mean, I know he needs wide receivers, but
he wants to run the football.
Right. It's Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he did it in San Francisco. He did it everywhere he's been. Stanford, Michigan. I mean, he's going to draft a big ugly, isn't he? Nothing wrong with a bunch of big uglies. We're in a lot of football games with big uglies.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commission and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I love this draft show. I'm getting the random texts from people that I haven't heard from in a long time with their team's thoughts. We talk about their team and they pop in and say this and say that.
I'm working on cheat sheets. Teams that don't have second, third, or fourth round picks, and then teams that have multiple second, third, or fourth round picks.
If Pat wasn't working the draft, I'd be bugging him all night long. What do you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy? Do you know where he's set up? Like, is there a Radio Row at the draft?
I do not.
Well, their setup is special because it's Sirius XM on NFL radio. I mean, they're right there off stage where they can get interviews, I believe.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
So you're a Rodman guy. When was Rodman's? I mean, did you ever see Rodman play?
No. I got the Bad Boys, the Eastern Conference Finals and the Finals for the first championship. So the 6-game series with the Bulls and the sweep of the Lakers on DVD as a kid in middle school. And I just loved Dennis Rodman.
Don't start me. I love the Worm. I mean, that's when McCloskey could do no wrong. Every pick that Dumars and Rodman and these second-round picks.
John Sally, wasn't he? Or maybe
Sally might have been a first-round pick. But I remember when they drafted, they're drafting these. They draft Joe Dumars. Like, who in the hell? And, I was like,
McNeese State.
Right.
David, did you hate the Bad Boys?
Hate them? No.
Okay. I was just curious because I know a lot of people did.
No. First off, there was a misnomer. Like the Pistons of the late 80s were still scoring the ball. They were a very physical team, but look at that Portland 1990s final. Look at the scores in those games. They were all in the hundreds. Okay. It was when they got old and Daly and Riley at the same time when they met the Pistons and Knicks in the 92 playoffs, that started to set basketball back. That was just mud wrestling. But no, I loved Isaiah. I loved him. That 84 Knicks Pistons series, Isaiah going against Bernard King, that was amazing. That was so awesome. Best of 5. Every game was riveting.
Bernard King was so good.
Oh, in '84, he was
so
unreal.
good. It's the best series I remember. Like, of any player that never became a monster star, and it was because of injury, that was just like what I couldn't believe what I was watching, how good he was.
Blew out his knee the next year on a fast break. And when you blew out your knee in 1985, that was a problem.
Bring out the chainsaw.
Well, he made it back after a tornado. He was the first basketball player to blow out his ACL and make an all-star team after the injury.
I love the intro to The Last Dance. It's like, my name's Michael Jordan. I played for the Chicago Bulls for X amount of years. My name's Scottie Pippen. I played for the Bulls for X amount of years. I'm Dennis Rodman. What's up? That's it.
Did you ever hear Denny Hamlin tell the story about how him and MJ got connected to own a NASCAR team?
No.
It's actually it's pretty interesting. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Working on my cheat sheets. I'm telling you, I'd give 5 years off my life to be able to do one draft for a team. I really would.
5 years?
Totally. Yeah. First off, once you get to a certain age, I mean, how much fun is life, number one? So, to sign off 5 years, I mean, really? I mean,
Wow.
Get to a certain point.
When you're old. I wouldn't, for the record. I'll take his 5 years. He can go do the draft.
I mean, okay, 3.
Story sitting at the
3.
bar.
Here, I'll do 3. 3 days of making picks for a team. I'll trade a year per day. I will. Now, I want a lot of picks, though. I don't want the Bears, 4 picks.
You
I
need
don't
Green
want
Bay's
Miami
draft,
with
is what you're telling
5.
me.
Right. Give me Washington at least. 2 2s, 3 3s. Give me some fun. Give me Arizona with 11, Green Bay with 11.
Because don't kid
Rams
yourself.
even.
You don't just want to pick players. You want to trade draft picks.
Right. Yeah. I wanna
David
have
would
some
give a new
fun.
meaning to the term due diligence as he's making all these phone calls.
So we've had Pat on the show for how long, David?
Darn near, well, we've been doing this 18 years. I mean, we've had him for all 18 because, I had him, on my show before. So, and he was probably on your show once or twice before. So a good 20 years Pat's been on, and us 18.
There have been a couple of times in which we actually thought Pat may leave the radio business to go back into football. Friends were getting jobs, and it's like, hey. And I think David was giddy every time because Pat had always loosely promised us jobs. Mine was selling sweets. He never wanted me to do anything with the sport. But David was the assistant to the traveling secretary at the very least.
Totally.
And he was going to work his way into that GM room.
I got a running gig with Aikman. Okay. And I think Troy's not trying to anymore, but there was a while where Troy wanted to do what John Lynch did. He wanted to run a team. And it obviously never came to fruition. But we were in Houston doing a Thursday night game. And Houston was a mess. And I said to him, I go, we could do this. And he just looked at me and I said, that's right. We could do this. I go, now you'd hire me to park cars and I'd work my way up, but we could do this. He's like, oh, we could. I go, yeah, you're kind of a BFD in Texas. No, they'd really like you. You'd get more of a honeymoon than just about anybody else they could hire. He's like, you think so? I go, yes. And let me tell you, we'll make a killing on parking. And I'm very anti that. That's how much I want to do this. I go, ask my co-host how anti-charging for parking I am. And he looks right at me and he goes, oh, we're going to charge for parking. I go, yes, we are. We're doing this. So that's our running joke. Okay. Somebody goes, "Hey, Troy, you going to be a GM?" He goes, "Yep." And Moulton's going to park the cars.
Valet parking.
Mark's selling suites, I'm parking cars. But we're getting that business card, baby. We're getting that NFL team shirt logo. Yep.
All in.
Honestly, just let me do a draft. One damn draft. I mean, with all due respect, with the way some of these organizations screw up the draft, I mean, really?
Well, what was the hit rate? You went over the stats earlier that obviously that centers hit the most, offensive tackles second, guards third. And by hitting the most means getting a second contract with the same team that drafted you. After that, there's not a position group that's better than 50% in the league.
Yes, this was the first 19 years of this century. 12 centers were taken in the first round. 11 of them got a second contract, so 92%. Tackles, 59%. Guards, 50%. Every other position for 19 drafts, first-round picks, less than half of those guys got a second contract with the team that drafted them. So you can get, a guy who's a good player. Like technically, it would be a bad look for the Dolphins. Wilkins, that's a little unfair. Wilkins comes off as a miss because when it came time to get the second contract, he gets $100+ million in free agency, but he gets it with somebody else.
Right. I was actually thinking that, Trent's Lions, TJ Hawkinson would be considered a miss, but he got traded to the Vikings. He's going to get that contract with the Vikings. So it's not a pure science, but It does paint the picture of how difficult it is to hit on the draft. That's really what the exercise is, David.
Right. And I think a fan's expectation, obviously you'd love to have like the Lions draft from last year, right? Obviously, but that's few and far between. But I do think a fan's expectation is, hey, if we take somebody in the first round, we gotta get a second contract out of them. Unless by chance they're just ruined by injury. But, come on, you got to draft at least a pretty good player, and we're going to want to keep him around for 6, 7, 8 years. Come on now, it's a first-round pick. And I think the expectation of second and third round picks are guys who not just make the team, but are contributors. And I'd like one of those two to probably be a starter. I mean, I'd love for both, but I'd like one of those two to be a starter.
At least by week 7, 8, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes that second round guy's got to work his way in and figure things out. But by the time the rookie year ends, you're expecting a couple of starters, maybe in a third contributor.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if the other guy is my fourth corner, who becomes my third corner and what have you, who's a swing lineman who eventually becomes a starting lineman. Yeah, okay. I do think that's the expectation of a fan. They'd love for all of these picks to be, quite frankly, the Lions draft last year, the 74 Steelers draft. I mean, that stuff doesn't happen. The 81 Niners draft. First, second, and fourth rounds. They pick 3 starters in the secondary. One goes to the Hall of Fame. 2 guys have their jerseys retired in San Francisco. That's the exception.
Well, wasn't it a Packers draft a few years ago that they had everybody contributed into like the 6th round, they were getting contributions.
Right. I mean,
unbelievable draft.
When the Giants beat the undefeated Patriots in 2007, every draft pick made the team. Every draft pick except one was healthy and made contributions in the playoff run. That's the exception.
I think the hidden narrative in that little exercise that we found from Hembo, that's awesome how high the hit rate is on linemen because it's so hard to evaluate offensive line. At least to me it is. You don't have a whole lot to go off of. Mark, we talk about Pro Football Focus. The only reason that I put any stock in linemen for that is because what else are you going to look at?
Well, I will say, though, notice that's research up through, I think, 2019. In the last 5 years, you could take a look at it. First off, judging offensive linemen, a lot more misses. Why? Games change. Guys don't put their hand in the dirt anymore. Okay, there's all throughout football, they're like, man, offensive linemen, none of them are run blocking anymore. None of them even huddle anymore. What they're playing in high school and college is not the game we're playing. And wide receiver, where they were terrible the first 18, 19 years of this century, take a look at the first round picks in the last 5 years at receiver. There's like one or two misses, and the rest are all studs.
And what are we expecting in this year's first round? How many receivers are going to get taken?
Probably 5, maybe 6.
And in the first 2 days, 13, 14?
Easy. And we could damn near have double-digit offensive linemen drafted in the first round tonight. In fact, I would put the over-under on offensive linemen at 9.5. And I think I'd go over.
Work on those over-unders. I want those to open the show tonight.
Done. I got my cheat sheets here. Who's got no second or third round picks? Who's got multiple second and third round picks? I guess. Now I got to come up with over-unders. You do know we're not getting paid for this, right?
I know, but
you love it.
That's something else to pay attention to. David, I'm switching to the Brown around pick 20. That's all I'm telling you.
Oh, I know you are. When the Dolphins are on the clock, Mark's getting runk. Yes, he is. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Couple of picks, a boost, some sprinkle. It's all next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Who's over under 32.5? What's over under 32.5?
That's Bo Nix is over under. And I could
Gotcha.
be wrong, but I think he's giving me grief because I couldn't. Yeah, the prop bet joke where I thought the over was
Right.
higher draft position, but it's
Right. Over's 33, under's 32. Right. Right. Zach's having a tough week. He is.
Zach. Oh,
That was shocking. That was.
Someone texted the show and said, "What number is old T-Val? Not T-Bal, T-Val. Tell me he's number one. LOL. What position did he play? Love the show as always." I'm like, 91 is the number for T-Bal. He goes, a skinny 91? Come on, T-Bal.
That's exactly right.
skinny 91 doesn't look good.
Now you could be in the 80s, you could be a receiver, but most likely you need to be single digits or, teens or 20s.
91.
91.
Well, in college, I could be a kicker.
91?
Yeah. There's
wasn't Blankenship a goofy number?
Yeah, 98, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I know. We hate that. Just absolutely. And I don't mean we, Miller and Moulton. I mean we in the booth. God, do we hate that.
Oh, David, it's funny. I hate that the NFL switched the number things out.
Yep.
It was really simple. I knew who.
Exactly. You knew the position that a guy played based on his number. Right.
Tom Brady hated it too. Remember that? He sounded off on it.
Isn't Myles Garrett like 5 now or something like that? Didn't he switch to a single digit?
I don't know, but Brian Burns for the Panthers is 0.
Right. I mean, come on. What the heck?
What are we doing?
It's bad enough when Kevin Duckworth was 00. I mean, I'll tell you what, those Portland teams, those were good teams that never won a title.
Yeah, he was the big Blazer center, right?
Yeah, but they had Drexler, they had Jerome Kersey, they had Terry Porter. Man, those are good teams.
Pistons beat them in 5 in 1990. I think they won game 2, and that was back when it was a 2-3-2 finals format.
Yeah. Portland won game 2, and Detroit won 3 in Portland.
And they hadn't won in Portland in
a decade,
like 30 years.
Yeah.
And they went there and won all 3 finals games.
Vinnie Johnson.
A microwave.
Yeah. Pull that ball back behind your head. What the hell?
Dumar's dad died during those finals.
Yeah.
I think while in Portland.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. 8 o'clock tonight. We're back live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. No YouTube, no nothing else. It's just Twitch. That's it. So if you've never checked us out on Twitch, you have to. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. 3.5 hours minimum, 8 to 11:30. The first round of the NFL draft. There will be volume. There will be drinking.
You can download it on your Fire Stick. You can download it on your PlayStation app.
You can cast it, David.
If the
Giants, you cast it.
If the Giants draft Bo Nix, there will be cursing.
What if they draft J.J. McCarthy?
I think he'll be able to play on Sundays, and I think he'll be better than Daniel Jones. But I don't know if he's the answer. So I'm wondering, did they just sign themselves up to a half dozen more years of? That's how I'll feel.
But
the one thing,
the out-of-body experience that I watched when Daniel Jones was taken.
no, it will not be that, because that was damn ridiculous. And it's been proven to be right. Correct? It's been healthy 1 year. They've had one season with a winning record.
No, of course you've been proven to be right. One last question about tonight's draft show. Is Mom going to watch? Because if she's watching and you're drinking and you might swear, I mean, she could get really upset with you.
Hey, she knows the ground rules going in. If she doesn't like it, don't watch. Okay. I knew all the years I've had to play by the ground rules, eating at home, holidays, the whole deal. Okay. I know what the ground rules are. I'm not allowed to swear at the dinner table. I get it. Okay. I get it. Had to pick grandma up, bring her to the house, take her home. I played by the rules. I did what I was supposed to do. Here, these are our rules. This is the Miller and Moulton draft.
I understand.
Not Miller, Moulton, and Mom's draft. This is the Miller and Moulton draft. We drink.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Who is this guy?
I have no idea.
Just saying, you know what? I'm done.
I've had enough of him.
Enough of him. He's like, I'm getting fired anyway, so the hell with him. You're done. Okay.
Not a lot today, David. In fact, not much at all. It's a pretty boring day as far as I'm concerned. But Chuck Cooper became the first African-American drafted in the NBA today in 1950. The Celtics drafted him. 1954, the first solar battery. 1964, the Toronto Maple Leafs complete a three-peat, defeating the Detroit Red Wings in 7. Just thought I'd bring that up because they actually did win the last game of the year. It's just been over a half century ago. Today in 74, the NFL adopts a sudden death playoff. Rick Monday became an American hero today in 1976.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Jumped on the field trying to light the American flag on fire, and Rick Monday tackled him and got the flag away and didn't let him do it and became an American hero.
Oh, yeah?
Matt Stafford, first overall today in 2009. 10 years later, Kyler Murray, first overall to Arizona. Edward R. Murrow and Ella Fitzgerald, both born today. Al Pacino's 84. Adam Silver, 62. Hank Azaria is 60. Joe Buck and Renee Zellweger are both 55 years old today. And Tim Duncan's 48. What did I miss, David?
Flint water crisis began 10 years ago today. They ever clean that up? Not really, right?
No.
Once again, public servants really coming through for us when we need them.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Connecticut, where two barbers are being hailed as heroes after a young child got away from mom and started running out into traffic. The barbers left their shop, immediately able to grab the kid and save him from oncoming traffic. Hartford Police Department wrote in a Facebook post, thanks to them, a potential tragedy was averted and a family remains whole. We are incredibly grateful to those everyday heroes among us. For the bad, we come a little closer to home. Right in Lee County, where Ivan Gomez reported his car was stolen. When deputies arrived at a business in Tice, they found a Mercedes-Benz with the windows smashed and the leather seats slashed. Gomez then claimed his car was damaged after dropping off the vehicle. Turns out he did all the damage himself trying to get an insurance claim. $25,000 of damage to his own car, that he owed $45,000 on. And now, on top of it, he was arrested for fraud. Not bad for a Wednesday. Finally, the ugly. We go to Pennsylvania, where Yadel Thomas was stopped on the Pennsylvania Turnpike because he was leisurely traveling in the left lane. Maybe my biggest pet peeve in the world. Not actively passing anyone, so he was pulled over. He was a little nervous when officers pulled him over, and there was a reason why. He had 25 doses of smack in his car. And he got pulled over for driving too casually in the left lane while transporting 25,000 doses of heroin.
You got to have a plan. You can't just be. You're asking for. It's like driving without a taillight when you've got a bunch of stuff in the car, right? Like,
yes.
You're asking for it.
I mean, when you have that body in the trunk, you really need to make sure that your taillights are working.
Yes.
And you don't travel in the left lane. You pass in the left lane.
Exactly.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 25th, 2024.
Two things of note. First off, Mom said A, she'll be watching, and B, since it's your draft, you can swear. Okay.
Oh,
there
thanks,
you go.
Mom.
Yep. I'm
Has she
58.
come around on Joe Cocker not being a Hall of Famer yet?
No, she's outraged that Joe Cocker's not in. By the way, one of the cooler things with the draft is where are the Rams hierarchy where they're having the draft. Have you been paying attention to this over the years? That McVay and company are always basically at a beach house, or they do things a little differently than the rest of the front office. Harbaugh will be in a van down by the river. Okay, the Rams. So it's been disclosed their draft house is a $16.5 million Hermosa Beach mansion converted into a draft war room, 9,150 square feet. It's got a game room and a lounge, 2 pools.
It's like a party.
Yeah, like a party. And the Rams, remember, they have a first-round pick this year for the first time in 8 years.
Right.
So it'll be the first-round pick that Sean McVay has been a part of, because Jeff Fisher was the coach the last time they had a first-round pick, and they took Goff.
That is just remarkable. They got the Lombardi, though, proving there's more than one way.
Absolutely.
I thought more teams would make more deals because of the Rams, and in a way they have. I think there's been a lot more trading in the 2020s. So,
but there's been some bad trading. They haven't.
No doubt. Yeah. But quite frankly, you need to start doing a better job. That chart that we talked about, we didn't understand why they were holding on to their draft picks so much if you're doing such a bad job of making them pay off. Because when you trade a draft pick for a player, in theory, what are you doing? You're acquiring a proven talent. You draft unproven talent. You use the picks to acquire proven talent.
The Rams, by the way, a first, a second, and 2/3. No 4th-round pick for the Rams. They had a bunch of late-round picks.
Yeah, they got like 6 compensatory picks, 6 compensatory picks. One of them's a 3rd rounder, a bunch of 5ths and 6th. So yeah, they're going to be busy. So, it's baseball. It's a Thursday. Not everybody plays on a Thursday. We've got 10 games. So 2/3 of the league playing today. No Marlins and no Rays. For what that's worth, most every game is in the afternoon. In fact, 9 of the 10 games are in the afternoon. Only the Yankees played tonight at 7 o'clock. But, a couple of good matchups if you're interested. And we'll see if the White Sox, 3-21, they've lost 6 in a row.
Well, Tampa gets to go to Chicago after a day after day. They got 3 with the Sox. So the Rays, don't you have to go into that series going, well, we have to sweep at Chicago?
Although the Rays have so many injuries at this point, I'd take 2 out of 3. But how about this? Do you bet the White Sox? The Twins are minus 230. The White Sox have lost 6 in a row.
No.
Hold on. This is the 4th game of a 4-game series. It's bad enough to sweep a 3-game series. Do you think the Twins are going to sweep a 4-gamer?
Yes.
I wouldn't bet it.
I'm betting the White Sox.
David says, you know what? 4-game series, we can get one.
And you know what's going to happen? They're going to win, and I'm going to get all kinds of threatening texts later. See, you didn't bet the damn White Sox today.
Well, we left 2 winners laying on the floor yesterday, and we've said we were going to bet them. I mean, that's the role Miller and Moulton are on. We pick winners, and we don't bet them.
I love the almost at this point daily texts that come at about 5-6 o'clock, and David's asking what we actually took. Did we take this? Did we take this?
And that's on me that we didn't take the Rays yesterday, because I didn't think I got I certainly got nothing from you. I never felt that I got a lot from David saying, yeah, that's a good bet.
Well, I thought they weren't going to get swept at home by the Tigers. So I really like the Rays to win the 3rd game of the series. And fortunately, they did. And, of course, we didn't bet it. And the Heat, who are one of the 3 best teams in the league on the road against the spread, and we thought that was a lot of points and what have you. So, we were kind of leaning to taking the points. And, we didn't, right? So that's good.
Well,
by the way, Mark,
advice,
I'm putting money on Michael Soroka, who's 0-3 with a 7.5 ERA. I mean, come on. How could you not put money when you've got starting pitching like that the White Sox are throwing out there? Right. Yep. He was a really good pitcher for the Braves about 5 years ago. He's done nothing but get hurt since. So anyway, that's what we got going on in baseball. So NBA tonight, we got 3 playoff games. Orlando, they're going to make a series of it. Money's coming in on the Magic. When the show started, they were a 1.5 favorite. Now they're 2.5.
I think Orlando will get one of the 2 games at home, but not both.
Money coming in on the Sixers. When the show began, they were a 4.5-point favorite. 7:30 on TNT. They're a 5.5-point favorite.
Ooh, I like the Sixers tonight.
Lakers still a 1.5 favorite at home against the Nuggets. They've lost 10 straight to Denver. You can get Denver in a 1.5. Don't you have to take it?
Yes.
Until proven otherwise.
Right. NHL, 2 games. The home teams are both down 2-0 in the East. Tampa Bay hosting Florida. It's a virtual pick 'em. TBS, by the way, 7 o'clock if you're interested. And ESPN 2 at 7:30, Carolina on Long Island against the Islanders. Carolina, big favorite, -165.
Boy, it's tough to trust the Islanders after they blew game 2 the way they did. They're going to come out with everything they have tonight. It's their season, but boy, oh boy, after blowing that game 2, it's tough to trust the Isle. Because they got outplayed badly in game 2. And the shots were about 3-1 in that game.
I like the Islanders tonight, though. I do. Patrick Waugh. There's no way that team lays down. So I like the Islanders, who looked awful last time out, and the White Sox, who are 3-21. So there's my betting advice for the evening. How ridiculous does that sound?
Well, by that logic, don't you like the Lakers tonight then? 10 straight?
That's a dadgum good point. If I'm betting the White Sox, I might as well bet the Lakers.
You just put a guy who talks for a living into complete silence with that one, right?
No, he's right.
Him right into a corner, and he's like, I'll be damned, he's right.
No,
I don't know if you saved your job, Trent, but you certainly made a hell of a point.
No, Zach Wilson's still getting benched and then fired, but absolutely. Draft tonight, 8 o'clock on Twitch. Check it out.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do, and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.